Chapter 8:14. The claw shot out from the bottom of the illusory river, reaching thousands of feet above the river. Every drop of water in the illusory river contained a small world, penetrating from the bottom of the river. It was unknown how many worlds the claw had penetrated. The claw was not just thousands of feet, it had penetrated countless worlds in an instant. Its power was so strong that it made one's hair stand on end. Rumble! The dragon claw tore the river apart, and the majestic dragon body violently shot out from the illusory river. Hiss! Too fierce, this absolute heartless is too fierce. He can actually break out from the illusory river. That place, even the ancient giants would be lost in it. This 8 desolation Emperor Dragon Fist, could it be the Emperor's ultimate technique of the Eternal Emperor dynasty? It's so fierce and domineering that it can even penetrate the illusory river. He can actually use the heartless heavenly ship to display such strength. A large group of cultivators couldn't help but gasp in astonishment. Humph! The tiger soul demonic blade is mine. Back then, Tion destroyed my physical body. Today, I, Black Pupil, will take his tiger soul. Sinless City, pardon your sins. Boundless sins, return to the Red Lotus. Rumble! In the sky above Sinless City, a pitch-black cloud of sins suddenly rose. Within the cloud, there was an Avicii throne. On the throne, a young man in a blood-red robe was sitting upright. Between his brows, there was a ferocious and deranged expression. His face was ferocious, but his heart was even crazier. It's the Demon Emperor, it's all because of the Demon Emperor. Otherwise, how could I have become like this today? I must obtain the tiger soul, lure out the demon city, and capture all his women. I must torture them ruthlessly. In Sinless City, countless pitch-black chi of sins continuously spread out, intertwining with each other, emitting a terrifying light of sins. Anyone who touched a trace of it would be plunged into sin. With a loud bang, the surrounding void shattered. Like a great demon god of sins, it rushed into the illusory void island. Wherever it passed, the spatial faults were smashed into pieces. Bang! The huge Sinless City crashed into the huge golden dragon. The golden dragon was sent flying backward on the spot. The tiger soul is mine, no one can take it from me. Black Pupil roared crazily. He drove the Sinless City towards the Divine Mountain, crushing everything in its path. Black Pupil, you're crazy. You haven't even gotten the tiger soul, yet you're attacking me first. Don't think that I, Heartless, will be afraid of you. 8 Desolation Imperial Dragon Fist. Imperial Dragon reverses heaven and earth, said Zhu Wuqing coldly. That gigantic golden dragon abruptly turned around in the air. At the same time, it seemed like the earth and sky were also turning around. The earth and sky appeared above their heads, the sky appeared below their feet. Thousands of gigantic golden dragon claws were filled with a terrifying dragon strength and a boundless draconic chi, aiming straight for Sinless City. This claw could almost pierce through heaven and earth. Zhu Wuqing, you can't do anything to me. Sin is eternal life, and the power of sin is immortal. The red lotus karmic fire burns all things. Black Eye screamed in a crazed manner. Sinless City trembled as boundless sinful energy soared up. Abruptly, a gigantic red lotus appeared outside the Sinless City, enveloping the entire city. Within the red lotus, countless blood-red flames could be seen. The flames did not seem to have any temperature, but it was one of the most terrifying flames in the world, the red lotus karmic fire. As long as one had karma, the red lotus karmic fire could burn them to ashes. Rumble! The golden dragon's claw slammed onto the red lotus karmic fire. The karmic fire instantly enveloped the dragon's claw, emitting a terrifying sound. It's the red lotus karmic fire. Zhu Wuqing roared in shock. Countless golden dragon chi spewed out from the dragon's claw, frantically cleansing the red lotus karmic fire on the dragon's claw. Second Grandpa, quickly look. The dragon chi on that golden dragon is the original dragon chi of our dragon clan. It's impossible for those who aren't from the dragon clan to possess it. That heavenly boat can actually transform into a golden dragon. Moreover, it has such a strong battle prowess. Could it be that the heartless heavenly boat was forged from the bones of our ancestors? In the boundless void, there was a crystal palace that was hidden. In the palace, an old man in a green robe with 2 golden dragon horns on his head was shining brightly. Around him, the 3 princesses in the misty wave lake, Ao Qing, Ao Hong and Ao Shui, were standing by his side. When Ao Hong saw the scene outside, she shouted with an ugly expression, "I've long heard that the eternal Emperor dynasty had once entered the dragon tomb of our dragon tribe to steal the bodies of our ancestors. It seems like I'm right. The 8-clawed golden dragon can only be found in the dragon tomb. They must have stolen the dragon's corpse from the dragon tomb. It's too despicable. Second Grandpa, we can't let them off. We must retrieve the ancestor's corpse." Ao Qing's expression changed drastically. Stealing the ancestor's corpse was the same as digging up their ancestral grave. How could she be happy? Humph, it seems that our dragon race has been recuperating for countless years and hiding in seclusion. Now, the myriad worlds have already forgotten our prestige back then. They actually dare to extend their hands to our dragon race. The human race is really bold. The old man's face was filled with anger and he naturally exuded an intimidating aura. However, he did not attack immediately. Instead, he held it in and said, "Since we know about this, we can't just let it go. However, we're here because of the 3 of you. I had no choice but to come and save your brother Di Shirtion. Now that the demon city has not appeared, we shouldn't show up in vain. Let's wait and see." A strange look flashed across the old man's face. Of course, if it was just the 3 of them, he would not have been able to get them to come here. Most importantly, Di Shirtion was no longer a nobody in the universe. His status was far higher than ordinary people. As the Demon King, he was on equal footing with any expert. Moreover, this matter concerned the entire demon tribe. Given the relationship between the dragon tribe and the demon tribe in the ancient times, they naturally could not stand by and do nothing. They were just using Ao Qing and the others as an excuse. Brother Di's tiger soul is here. Will he be fine? Ao Shui's crystal-clear eyes flashed with a hint of worry. Roar. At that moment, a domineering tiger roar suddenly came from the divine mountain. The tiger roar was filled with endless anger. Boom, boom, boom. Rings of golden sound waves swept out like tidewater. The void was constantly distorted from the vibrations. Under the coverage of the sound waves, there were no blind spots. An illusory figure flew out. The figure appeared. It was a mysterious person with a pitch-black cloak on his head. Even his body seemed unusually illusory. It's the Shadow Tribe. There's an expert from the Shadow Tribe who wants to secretly steal the Tiger Soul. The Tiger Soul is indeed miraculous. It can actually force him out. The Shadow Tribe is really a group of troublesome fellows. They're really all-pervasive. They even dare to make a move on the Tiger Soul. Look, the Tiger Soul is moving. Clang. The Tiger Soul, which was originally stabbed into the Divine Mountain, seemed to be angered by the Shadow Tribe's actions. The Golden Saber Soul entered the saber body and a figure appeared on the saber body. Rays of golden divine light rippled like a tide. Waves of divine patterns that looked like fish bones appeared. Crack! The Tiger Soul fiercely pulled out the saber from the Divine Mountain. The huge saber pointed directly at the Shadow Tribe. The saber body shook. Suddenly, from the void, countless desires rushed into the saber like a tide. Buzz! The saber body trembled. 3,000 gods and devils flew out from the saber. Each god and devil emitted endless sorrow. They quickly devoured the desires and returned to the Tiger Soul in the blink of an eye. Extreme Monarch Emperor Dao, God and Devil mourning. The Tiger Soul actually gave birth to this unparalleled battle skill. The golden saber light appeared like a drill above the Shadow Tribe's head. The strange thing was, for some reason, The Shadow Tribe's body seemed to have been immobilized. If someone looked carefully, they would discover that tears were flowing out of his eyes like a spring. Crack! The tiger's soul crossed the sky. That Shadow Tribe's waist was cut in half. He died on the spot. The tiger's soul actually moved on its own. Could this saber move be the peerless battle skill created by the Demon Emperor? It can actually make the enemy bow down and wait to be killed. The tiger's soul indeed contains a peerless battle skill. However, that saber move just now was comparable to the peerless killing power of an ancient giant. It's really terrifying. The tiger soul's sudden move shocked many cultivators on the spot. Black Pupil, in this Crown Prince's opinion, we should first subdue this tiger soul before deciding the victor. Alright, a mere saber dares to be so arrogant. Let's see if I can't suppress it. The tiger soul's strange movement immediately attracted Zhu Wuqing and Black Pupil's attention. At the same time, in the land of exile, Di Shirtian suddenly stood up and looked up at the void. A trace of seriousness appeared on his face. The tiger soul's strange movement. It seems that the trap I set up has begun to be activated. Now, if nothing unexpected happens, there must be many major forces gathered around the tiger soul. Who knows how many of them are in the open and in the dark? Haha, isn't this even better? With the current Demon City, Lunatic D, you already have the strength to stand at the peak of the world and start playing chess. Don't be afraid. Now that the unparalleled experts have not appeared, with the Demon City, there are definitely not many in the world who can pose a threat to us. We must play this game well. This time, we're going to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat, Ming said with interest, since Tiger Soul has attracted the attention of all the worlds in the universe. The myriad Demon City should be about to appear. Otherwise, it's difficult to completely provoke those ambitious people with just the tiger soul alone. There's no hurry. I'll first transmit my power through the void and use the tiger soul to fight with those people. Let's see what kind of people they are. Di Shirtian sensed the strange movement of the tiger soul, but he was not in a hurry to send the demon city in immediately. Crack! Standing in the jade pool, Di Shirtian reached out and grabbed the void. Immediately, a clear crack was torn open in the sky above the land of exile. Through the crack, one could see the scene outside the land of exile. There was chaotic power everywhere. With a thought, his divine thought quickly traveled through the void and connected with the tiger soul in the void illusory island. That strand of divine consciousness entered the tiger soul without a sound. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com to read more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 8:15. A mere tiger soul dares to be so arrogant? Subdue it. 8 Desolation. Imperial Dragon Fist. Imperial Dragon inspecting the heavens. From within the golden dragon, Zhu Wuqing's voice rang out. He was borrowing the power of the heartless heavenly arc to execute an ultimate art of the eternal emperor dynasty. As he slammed out with his claw, a golden divine dragon directly shot up into the sky. This dragon was formed from boundless draconic chi, and contained a supreme will of the emperor dragon surveying the skies, causing all living things to bow their heads. In front of this imperial dragon, even the strongest expert would have to bow down to it. That terrifying will caused the heavens and earth to crumble under the pressure. The giant imperial dragon roared and swept towards the tiger soul, wanting to completely bind and suppress it. Subduing the tiger soul. Everywhere it passed, the spatial faults in the void illusory island were destroyed. The power was so strong that even the ancient overlords would be shocked. Red Lotus Karmic Fire, Red Lotus Twin Stems. Hei Tong roared crazily. The sinless city shook. The red lotus that enveloped the ancient city shot out rays of red light. Those red light rays were lotus seeds. When these lotus seeds appeared in the air, they immediately cracked open and turned into fiery red lotuses that emitted dazzling divine light. In the blink of an eye, they covered a large area of the void and swept towards the tiger's soul. With the help of the heavenly ship and the ancient city, each of their attacks was comparable to the ancient overlords. Even the countless spatial faults in the void illusory island couldn't weaken their battle strength. Roar! The tiger's soul flickered with divine light, and a golden saber soul with a pair of wings on its back flew out from the saber. Its body was several thousand feet long, and it was enveloped in divine light. With a shake of its body, a figure wearing a golden emperor's robe appeared on the divine mountain. His black hair fluttered behind his head. Ha! He reached out his right hand and grabbed the tiger soul's saber hilt. With a twist of his wrist, the tiger soul's saber blade drew a dazzling arc in the air. In the void, a vast power of anger surged into the tiger's soul like a tidal wave. An ancient imperial emperor faintly appeared in the saber. Extreme monarch Emperor Dao, Emperor's Wrath. He formed a seal with his left hand, and an ancient seal quickly condensed in the air. The ancient seal emitted a profound aura, and everything in the surroundings was immediately engulfed by the ancient seal. Tiger spirit soars the sky. The 10,000-foot-long saber light slashed toward the domineering Emperor Dragon. The ancient seal blasted towards the red lotus hellfire that filled the sky. Rumble! Tiger soul slashed at D-Long. The blade contained the fury of an emperor. An emperor reigned supreme in the heavens and earth. Anyone who angered him would be killed. When an emperor was angry, blood would dye 10,000 miles. Even if it was D-Long, he would still be burned to ashes in his fury. As the two collided violently, the divine light of the tiger's soul shone brightly. Boundless rage swept across the area. Even his 8 desolation Emperor Dragon Fist couldn't help but slack off a little. The dog's momentum did not have enough stamina, and it only lasted for a moment. Tiger's soul burst forth with endless sharpness. The Emperor Dragon was instantly cut in two. At the same time, the ancient Taotai seal exuded the terrifying characteristic of a Taotai that could devour everything. Wherever it passed, the red lotuses were devoured by the ancient seal. However, the surface of the ancient seal was strangely burning with traces of blood-red lotus karmic fire. Bang! When the ancient seal swallowed all of the red lotus hellfire, it exploded at the same time, burned to ashes by the hellfire. A terrifying strength chi exploded out, and in an instant, a terrifying spatial storm swept up near the divine mountain. Countless spatial blades danced in the storm, cutting the void. Demon Emperor, D. Shirtion. 2 roars of surprise and anger instantly erupted from the mouths of Heartless and Black Pupil. My goodness, the Demon Emperor. The Demon Emperor actually came out of the tiger soul. Could it be that he's not dead? Or is his remnant soul hiding in the tiger's soul? What astonishing combat strength! He actually broke through Ju Wuqing and Black Pupil's killing moves at the same time. The Demon Emperor's combat strength is indeed heaven-defying. If we can capture his remnant soul and force him to reveal his cultivation method, wouldn't it be even more valuable? The figure standing on the divine mountain was none other than D. Shirtion. Sakra used his spiritual sense to enter the tiger soul. With the help of the saber soul in the tiger soul, he condensed his current body. He looked around arrogantly but didn't say anything. His eyes became abnormally dull, as if he didn't have any intelligence. However, his body exuded a strong fighting spirit. The Demon Emperor is hiding in the tiger soul, and it seems like he doesn't have a body. His combat strength is still so heaven-defying. When they saw the figure standing on the divine mountain, the surrounding experts couldn't help but go into an uproar. This was simply a matter that shook their minds. In this world, as long as there was a trace of remnant soul left, it was not considered a true death. In this world, there were too many methods that could allow remnant souls to be reborn. It's my husband. In the amethyst bamboo boat, Katomi stood up excitedly and exclaimed in joy. She did not mind calling him husband and wife. Clearly, in her heart, She had already treated herself as his wife all those years ago. Until now, she had not wavered in the slightest. No, I have to help him. Katomi picked up Lu Chi-chin and was about to leave the bamboo boat and enter the illusory void island. However, an arm stopped her. Know-it-all smiled and stopped her. Chin family's girl, why are you in such a hurry? Now is not the time for you to make a move. Let's watch first. Don't worry, your lover will be fine. If you care too much, you will be in a mess. He glanced at the divine mountain and smiled meaningfully. He seemed to have seen through the truth of the scene in front of him. Damn it, you demon, you are not dead yet. Today, I will take revenge for what happened back then. You are just a remnant soul, and you want to fight me? Die. Zhu Qing roared coldly. Suddenly, the huge golden dragon began to emit a vast dragon aura, crushing the surrounding space inch by inch. Golden dragon aura spewed out from under the dragon's scales. The dragon claws under him burst out with bright divine light. The endless dragon power was completely condensed. 8 Baron Imperial Dragon Fist. Imperial Dragon patrols the sky. Imperial Dragon disturbs the sea. Imperial Dragon overturns the sky. Imperial Dragon supremacy. Boom, boom, boom. This explosion almost made a hole in the sky. 4 huge Imperial Dragons roared with all kinds of terrifying wills, fiercely pouncing on Di Shirtion. Each Emperor Dragon crushed the void around them. It was as if they wanted to dominate the world. All living things had to submit to them. If they didn't submit, they would immediately be destroyed. He completely displayed the domineering aura of the 8 Baron Imperial Dragon Fist. Sakura, it's all thanks to you that I, Hei Tong, ended up in this state where I'm neither a human nor a ghost nor a devil. Today, I'm the King of Sin, in charge of the Avicii throne. Today, I want you to sink into sin forever. Sin will corrupt your soul. I am the king of all the sins in the world. Today, I condemn you to eternal Avicii purgatory. Hei Tong's face was ferocious as he sat on the Avicii throne. Countless pitch-black aura of sin filled the surroundings. In the black fog, countless sins appeared. Rape, kidnapping, burning, robbing, killing, and all kinds of sins turned into the power of sin. Ugly faces flashed continuously. Whoosh! Countless evil chi churned violently. A pitch-black metal chain quickly condensed. There were countless mysterious symbols on the metal chain. Countless evil deeds appeared on each section of the metal chain. The terrifying evil was like the most terrifying thing in the world. The most evil thing. It was formed by monstrous sins. You're guilty, you're guilty, you're guilty. On the chain, countless sinful thoughts gathered to form a voice that echoed in all directions. I'm guilty, I deserve to die. Outside the illusory void island, some weak-willed cultivators instantly felt that their sins were so grave that they deserved to die. When they fell into the Avicii purgatory, their hearts were dead, and there was nothing left to live for. The chain of sin. It was comparable to the root of all evil. It wasn't just a little scary. The pitch-black chain of sin extended out from the sinless city and swept towards Di Shirtion. The third prince of the Eternal Emperor dynasty, Zhu Wuqing, and the young master of the Black Fiend Great World, Hei Tong. So it's the two of them. To think that I've lured them here. Since they're here, wouldn't it be a waste of my plan if I don't kill all of you? Sakura had come with his divine sense and leaned over the tiger soul. Originally, he wanted to add fuel to the fire in the current situation and show his face. He wanted to completely add a powerful bargaining chip to the surrounding spectators. In terms of fighting, it was secondary. Leaning over the tiger's soul couldn't unleash its heaven-defying strength. What he was borrowing now was the strength of the tiger's soul itself. However, when he saw that Zhu Wuqing and Hei Tong were here, he thought to himself, even if I lean over the tiger soul, I won't be humiliated so easily. Extreme Emperor Emperor Dao Fiend God Morning. Extreme Emperor Emperor Seal, Seal of Bliss. Taotai Seal. Emperor Seal. Di Shirtian's mind moved. Suddenly, the void above his head seemed to collapse like a funnel. Vast power of desire surged in like a tide and condensed into ancient seals that appeared around him. In his hand, endless power gathered in the tiger's soul. It was as if he was holding the entire world in his hand. It was incomparably heavy. Crack! Around him, the space shattered inch by inch like glass. Rumble! The tiger's soul flew across the sky. The dazzling saber light almost pierced a hole in the sky above the illusory void island. With the support of the fiend god power and the sharpness of the tiger soul, it could split the world in half. With the might of the fiend god, it swept towards the 4 emperor dragons. The 4 ancient seals instantly met the chain of sin. Among them, the seal of bliss burst forth with boundless beauty and joy. In the ancient seals, all kinds of beautiful scenes appeared. It was like a boundless paradise. Countless heavenly sounds of freedom and joy rang out continuously. When one saw it, one couldn't help but be immersed in the paradise of joy, throwing oneself into it and rebelling on the spot. It was the natural enemy of the chain of sin, the fall of sin. With a loud bang, they collided together. The supreme will kept colliding and entangling. To be continued. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 8:16. There are 2 more chapters after midnight. I have something to do tomorrow, so I'll upload tomorrow's update in advance. I've been writing furiously for the past few days. I'll try my best to update at the end of the month. Those who have votes, please support me. In July, I want to use climaxes and updates to rush up the ranking list. Countless wills of bliss and sinful thoughts intertwined. On the spot, countless wills of bliss were eroded, while a large amount of sinful thoughts were cleansed and purified. This was the collision of 2 wills. However, the other 3 ancient seals erupted with astonishing power, suppressing and bombarding the chain of sin. The overbearing power poured onto the chain of sin, causing it to tremble continuously. It made a terrifying sound as if it was going to break at any time. Rumble! Roar! Just as Di Shirtian activated his ultimate battle skill and fought fiercely with Black Pupil and Zhu Wuqing, the battle was in full swing. The violent collision caused countless worlds on the void illusory island to be destroyed and countless spaces to collapse. The battle shook the void. At this moment, the fierce battle seemed to have awakened some terrifying beast on the island. An earth-shattering roar suddenly erupted. Whoosh! A terrifying hurricane rose from the ground, and the void suddenly turned dark as if the sky had dimmed. The endless darkness stretched for hundreds of thousands of miles. Moreover, it was unusually deep, as if it wanted to engulf everything around it. Crack! With a boom, the tiger soul on the island, the heartless heavenly ship controlled by Zhu Wuqing, and even the sinless ancient city disappeared at the same time. It was as if what had just happened did not happen at all. Hiss! Hiss! A giant 7-colored python that was hundreds of thousands of feet long had appeared on the island unknowingly. It was incomparably vast, and its body gave people a terrifying feeling of oppression just by looking at it. It opened its mouth and inhaled, and the countless void illusory realms in the surrounding void were swallowed into its stomach. It was as if the void illusory realms were the most delicious food in the world to it. The various dangers on the void illusory island and the countless spatial faults were no threat to it at all. The snake turned its body and quickly circled the divine mountain that pierced the sky, turning the entire divine mountain into a terrifying snake mountain. Hiss! Rumble! Outside the illusory island, the ancient islands, ancient ships, and even the countless cultivators standing in the void couldn't help but retreat. Their eyes were filled with fear. Their expressions changed drastically, becoming abnormally ugly. My goodness, the void serpent's body is multicolored, and it stretches for hundreds of thousands of meters. It feeds on spatial rifts and small worlds. There are countless spaces in its body, and it has a 7-colored holy horn on its head. It possessed boundless might. When the ancient giants encountered it, they would immediately retreat. Void Serpent, this must be the legendary Void Serpent. To think that you would appear here. Legend has it that the Void Serpent has the miraculous ability to shift between reality and illusion. It is born with the ability to travel back and forth through space as it pleases. Inside of it is an endless great world. Once consumed, one's magic power and cultivation base will be exhausted, and there will be no way to recover. Nor will it be able to absorb the vital energy of heaven and earth. Moreover, it would continuously absorb the power and dermic powers of the living beings in its body. In the end, her magic power is exhausted, and her menstrual cycle dries up and she dies. Even an ancient hegemon wouldn't be able to escape after being swallowed. That's right, Yang Qi said. What a terrifying Void Serpent. It actually swallowed Tiger Soul, Heartless Heavenly Ark and Sinless City into its stomach in one gulp. It's truly terrifying. No wonder even the ancient giants are unwilling to step into the void illusory island. It turns out that such a terrifying beast exists. They couldn't see it clearly on the island, but outside the island they could see it clearly. That Void Serpent suddenly darted out of the illusory river and swallowed them all into its stomach. That scene seemed as though it was going to swallow the entire world. Even their souls were about to jump out of their bodies. Void Serpent, no, I have to save my husband. Kotomi could no longer hold it in. She cried out anxiously. Don't be anxious. Didn't I tell you before? The thing that just came out was not the remnant soul of Brat D. It should be just a strand of divine consciousness. Don't worry, he'll be fine. The know-it-all shook his head. Even though he was moved by her stubbornness, he still stopped her. Furthermore, even if it's really a remnant soul, with your capabilities, you'll be swallowed by the Void Serpent. His pair of turbid old eyes shone with radiance. Not good, young Master Black Pupil has been swallowed by the Void Serpent. Everyone, hurry and save him. Jushin Cultivator's face changed as he hurriedly ordered. The entire Jushin Island shone with a bright green light. Rather than an island, it was more like a gigantic ancient tree. This ancient tree towered into the sky with dense branches and leaves. When it moved, it was just like a gigantic ancient tree moving. Under the tree, countless thick roots were crazily wriggling like octopuses. When they came into contact with meteorites, they were immediately wrapped up and rooted on the meteorite. They crazily absorbed the nutrients and essence of the meteorite. In the blink of an eye, they were absorbed and turned into powder on the spot. What an ancient builder tree! It was actually refined into a war treasure. What a pity, what a pity! This builder tree was actually refined into a war treasure after nearly 10,000 years. If it could continue to cultivate, it would definitely become a powerful person in the world. The know-it-all sighed with regret. The Jushin Cultivator's Jushin Island was actually an ancient builder tree. The Jushin Island suddenly moved and rushed toward the illusory Void Island. However, at this moment, the Void Serpent's expression changed greatly. It became quite ugly, as if it had eaten something bad. Its body suddenly swelled violently. The snake's tail rose into the sky. Puff! A thunderous roar rang out, and the huge tail spewed out a puff of black and incomparably stinky air. It directly blasted into the sky like a mushroom cloud. Pooh, it stinks. Is this the Void Serpent's fart? It's really King extraordinary. It actually spread outside the island. How can the Void Serpent fart? Look, Ju Wuqing and Black Pupil were spurted out. Could it be that they did it? Suddenly, the endless void went silent. Countless pairs of eyes looked inside at the same time. The Sinless City and Heartless Heavenly Ship were spurted out from the Void Serpent's anus along with a stream of air. Black Pupil, who was sitting on the Avicii throne, and Ju Wuqing, who was standing at the bow of the ship, had their faces as black as the bottom of a pot. The muscles on their faces kept twitching. Their expressions were so ugly that it was as if they wanted to find a hole to hide in. Whoosh! In the nacre lake, Di Shirtian suddenly opened his eyes. Sinless city, black demon young master, black pupil, eternal imperial dynasty's third prince, Zhu Wuqing. Good, good, very good. I didn't expect that the scourge left behind in the past would all be lured out. And the void serpent. It's good that it came. It's time for the 1,000-demon city to descend. Pass down the order. We're discussing in the numinous palace. As for Di Shirtian, he turned around and walked quickly toward the heavenly prison. You're going to the heavenly prison? Dark was a little surprised. However, he immediately understood. Could it be that you're going to meet that jinx, Shen Gongbao? As he spoke, his expression changed. That's right. After capturing Shen Gongbao for such a long time and locking him up in the heavenly prison, it's time to deal with this big problem. If we don't subdue him and lock him up in the heavenly prison, we'll have to waste a blood massacre general to guard him. Moreover, the best opportunity to subdue him has just appeared. Di Shirtian's eyes shone. Shen Gongbao was a weirdo. If he could subdue him, it would be of great use to the 1,000-demon city. Forget it. The moment I saw that jinx, I felt unlucky. It's not going to be easy to subdue him. This guy cultivated the undying body of the evil emperor. He's really King evil. He's not afraid of anything. Calamity and misfortune are his synonyms. With his temper, he's never willing to submit to anyone. In my opinion, capturing him is just to use him as a trump card at a crucial moment. Throw him out to harm others. Dark wasn't optimistic about subduing Shen Gongbao. I have my own way. Di Shirtian smiled meaningfully. Standing outside the heavenly prison, he looked at the heavily guarded heavenly prison. In front of the door, the blood massacre general was guarding. Open the heavenly prison. Yes, Your Majesty. The blood massacre general obeyed without hesitation and opened the heavenly prison. Rumble. What appeared in front of him was a staircase that led straight down. The opening of the heavenly prison immediately alarmed Shen Gongbao, who was locked up in the deepest part of the prison. Shen Gongbao, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, shook his body slightly and slowly opened his eyes. The 3 lotuses on top of his head quickly returned to his body. He stood up. Wearing a green Taoist robe, he still looked like an immortal. So it's Your Majesty the Demon Emperor. I was wondering who would come to see me, a prisoner in custody. I salute you. When Shen Gongbao saw Di Shirtian standing outside the cell, he tidied his clothes and said with a faint smile. To be honest, he always had a rather complicated feeling about Di Shirtian. In the past, although he valued him, he did not regard him as a real opponent and did not think that he would be defeated by him. But this demon emperor, who he had never valued, made him suffer a big loss that he had never suffered since ancient times. He was forced into this hateful heavenly prison. He was the one who got into this heavenly prison by himself. When he thought of this, his heart ached faintly. Do you want to go out? Di Shirtian looked at Shen Gongbao carefully. After a long silence, he opened his mouth and said something shocking. Will Your Majesty the Demon Emperor let me leave here? Shen Gongbao said meaningfully. Go out? Of course he wanted to go out, and he wanted to die. After being locked up here for so many years, what he wanted to do most was to leave here and seriously take a breath of the free air. However, he spent so much effort to get him in, how could he let him leave so easily? He was very clear about this and never had the slightest hope in his heart. Yes, as long as you sincerely submit, you can enter and leave the demon city freely. No one will detain or bind you again. Di Shirtian said calmly. Your Majesty, do you think it's possible? Shen Gongbao looked at Di Shirtian with a faint smile. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 8:17. Since ancient times, Shen Gongbao had been feared by almost everyone, hated by ghosts, and avoided by gods because of his misfortune. Almost no one was willing to take the initiative to get close to him. Since ancient times, he had gained the reputation of being the god of misfortune and a jinx. Even unparalleled powerhouses avoided him and never had any friends. There was no lack of cynical nature in his heart. All along, he had never accepted the invitation of any powerhouse and was not willing to submit to anyone. When he was not needed, they all avoided him. When he was needed, they wanted him to submit. How could there be such an easy thing in this world? Thus, he had always been wandering the myriad of worlds in a frivolous manner, and he did as he pleased. He would not easily submit to any powerhouse. Even if he was now imprisoned in the heavenly prison, he still had no intention of submitting. Death, he was not afraid of death. Even unparalleled powerhouses could not erase his spirit. Once he died, he would naturally enter the cycle of reincarnation. He would be reincarnated again. No one could stop him. It's a little impossible. Tion smiled faintly and clapped his hands. Behind him, a maid brought a table of food and wine. She opened the door and moved the food and wine in. He also followed in. They sat opposite each other. Shingongbao picked up his chopsticks and unceremoniously picked up the food and wine in front of him. Dragon meat and phoenix meat were almost all placed on the table. He swallowed in big mouthfuls. As he ate, he nodded and said, "Haha, I've been here for so many years, and I've finally eaten my fill. This should be a supreme delicacy that only the god of cookery can make. Even if I die this time, it's worth it." Without hesitation, he praised loudly. After a pause, he said, "Your Majesty Demon King, from the looks of it, you didn't just come to say those words just now. With your temperament, unless you have the confidence to persuade me, you will never step into the heavenly prison." Shingongbao is Shingongbao. That's right. I came this time to make a bet with you. Tion looked at Shingongbao calmly and said indifferently, "A bet?" Shingongbao could not help but stop what he was doing in surprise. He looked at Tion with some confusion. He did not quite understand the meaning behind these words. "That's right, I'll give you a chance to leave the prison." "Oh, that's interesting. Since you're giving me a chance to leave and you're making a bet, there must be something at stake." In the end, Shingong was an old antique that had existed since ancient times. In the blink of an eye, he had already collected his thoughts and calmly said, "I never gamble, but today is an exception." Tion looked straight into Shingong's eyes and said in a deep voice, "You're right. Since it's a gamble, there should be stakes. The bet is very simple. If you win, I will set you free, and I will not pursue the matter of the 2 treasures you took from me in the fallen god abyss. They will belong to you." Such a bet was a direct hit to Shingong's life. He couldn't refuse at all. However, he immediately asked, "What if I lose?" When it came to gambling, there were bound to be winners and losers. There was no such thing as a sure-win bet in this world. "If I win, the bet is also simple. The treasures you took back then will still belong to you. However, I want you, Shingongbao, to pledge allegiance to the demon city." There was a trace of caution and confidence in his words. He said, "I don't know if you're willing to take a gamble." After he finished speaking, he did not rush Shingongbao. He just watched quietly, waiting for him to make a decision. The expression on Shingong's face kept changing, as if he had opened a dyeing shop. He seemed to be constantly thinking, weighing the gains and losses in his heart. After a long time, he raised his head and said with a faint smile, "Demon King, if I lose, aren't you afraid that I will go back on my word? You'll leave just like that." "I believe that you're not someone who goes back on his word," Tion said calmly. This sentence caused an indescribable feeling to grow in Shingong's heart. In this world, there was actually someone who would believe him. A feeling of being trusted appeared in the bottom of his heart. His whole expression suddenly became solemn. He said, "Well, since the Demon King dares to trust me, the God of Doom, then I'll listen. How do you want to gamble? He was locked up here. No matter how he gambled, he would not expect to make the decision himself. Having a chance to get out was already the most precious thing. It's very simple. I will set up a gate of heaven here. Follow this gate of heaven, you can leave the celestial prison and the demon city. When you leave the demon city, there will also be a gate of heaven. What I bet is that after you go out, you will voluntarily follow the gate of heaven again and return to the celestial prison. If you don't, then I lose. Naturally, you can leave freely and don't need to come back. The matter between us will be written off. What do you think of this bet? Tirtian slowly told him about the bet. You let me out and bet that I will follow the gate of heaven again and return to this celestial prison? Shingong suddenly had a feeling of wanting to laugh. He looked at Tirtian with a strange gaze. Do you know that I am full of misfortune, evil, and disaster? In this world, any dangerous place is like flat ground to me. It is impossible to trap me. After I go out, how can I return to the celestial prison? What a joke. Don't tell me you plan to use some method to let me out? He could not help but be surprised. This bet, to him, was not difficult at all. Almost at the moment he finished listening, he was certain that he would definitely win this bet. How do you know the final result of the bet before the end? Tirtian was not swayed by this at all. He just looked at him with a faint smile and said, I don't know, are you going to gamble or not? Gamble? Why wouldn't I gamble with such a bet? Shingong pondered for a moment, but he couldn't figure out what kind of conspiracy was behind it. He didn't hesitate any longer and nodded cautiously. If I don't bet on such a gamble, then I deserve to be struck by lightning. I'll gamble. Good, a gentleman's word is a promise. Clap. He stretched out his palm and made 3 claps in the air as an oath. After that, Tirtian did not stay and turned to leave the celestial prison. Shingong Gongbao looked at the back of the departing figure with a puzzled look in his deep eyes. He muttered to himself, where did this demon emperor get his confidence from? How dare he make such a bet with me? With my countless years of experience in this world, there are definitely not many places in the source world that can trap me. What exactly is it that gives him such confidence? His heart was filled with doubts. But thinking about the bet, he still felt that his chance of winning was almost 70%. If there were no accidents, he would definitely win. If you can really let me return to the celestial prison, then there is nothing wrong with me submitting to your demon city. You trust me, then I, Shingong, am not a man of my word. Speaking of which, I am also from the demon clan. He muttered to himself. Crazy D, what medicine are you hiding in your gourd? You are willing to make such a bet. This does not seem like your character. What is going on? With Shingong's ability, once he leaves the celestial prison, he will be like a dragon entering the sea. I am afraid that he will disappear without a trace in an instant. Ming had seen everything that had happened before and was still very puzzled. He looked puzzled. You don't have to think too much about this matter. You will know when the time comes. Tirtian did not continue to talk about this matter in depth. He turned around and left the celestial prison, directly entering the Lingxiao Palace. In the main hall, all the important ministers were standing in the hall. Sitting upright in the main hall, their bodies naturally overflowed with a supreme majesty. He scanned the great hall and said, the 1,000-demon city will soon return to the source world. Moreover, when we return, we will experience a great war that has never happened before. This war will involve many forces in the universe. Many of these forces want to kill us, but there are also many who are close to us. This time, when we go out, we will officially announce to the universe for the first time since ancient times that the demon clan will not be trampled on. Those who are close to us are our allies, and those who are our enemies are our enemies. Enemies will be defeated, crippled, and killed. Whoever dares to block our way will be killed without mercy. Dear ministers, do you have confidence? his impassioned voice echoed in the main hall. There was no reply in the main hall, but there was a blazing light in the eyes that looked at him, and there was a resolute belief in them. The demon clan had waited for this day for too long. The blood in their bodies was boiling and burning. Dark light mirror. A light mirror quickly condensed in the main hall. It was crystal clear, as if it was real and hung in mid-air. In the dark light mirror, one could clearly see the entire demon city, and even the scenes and things around the ancient city. Demon City, break through the barrier and return to the origin. In the dark light mirror, one could see that under the cover of the sky-shrouding mirror, the demon city had completely hidden all of its divine radiance. Even the vast aura that the supreme artifact naturally emitted was strangely restrained, and not a trace of it was revealed. It looked just like when it was still a supreme artifact, but more restrained, and it looked a little damaged. Rumble. The ultimate Emperor Jade Archive in the Demon City suddenly burst out with a bright divine radiance, and a vast amount of heaven and earth essence chi was continuously absorbed from the void, and quickly poured into the ancient city. A large amount of essence chi followed the Tao inscriptions on the ancient city, and spread to every inch of the city. Suddenly, an ancient aura spread out. The ancient city moved and crashed into the void. Crack! The supreme artifact was comparable to an unparalleled expert, and this collision was simply earth-shattering. A terrifyingly huge crack was formed in the void. Countless terrifying disasters were in the crack. The ancient city fiercely crashed into it, and the countless disasters could not get close to the ancient city at all. When they got close, they were directly shattered by the ancient city. There were no taboos. In an instant, they rushed out of the banished land. At this moment, the demon clan in the Lingxiao treasure hall saw another strange scene in the dark light mirror. To be continued. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com, support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 8:18. Update complete. I have something to do today, so I'm uploading the update in advance. Brothers, please recommend it if you have any recommendations. Those with monthly votes, please support it. If you come back early, there might be a third update. Through the dark light mirror, the scene outside could be seen clearly. After exiting the exiled land, two deep passageways appeared in front of them. The passageways were grotesque and variegated. Countless spaces were disappearing and vanishing, and countless silvery white spatial storms were raging. Every inch of the passageways contained countless spatial faults that were constantly being destroyed and born. It was unknown how much chaotic energy was swirling around. The two passageways were on the left and right. In the passageway on the left, looking forward, one could vaguely see 7 colors at the end of the passageway. Countless greater worlds were constantly changing, showing all kinds of scenes. There was a vast and boundless continent, thousands of stars, immortal clouds, and all kinds of beautiful scenes were presented. It seemed to be full of vitality. In the passageway on the right, at the end of the passageway, one could vaguely see countless evil spirits rising. Boundless demonic aura shrouded the world. Who knew how many demon gods of strange shapes were madly killing each other? Endless demonic beasts occupied every inch of the world. Just one look was enough to make one's mind waver, as if one was about to fall into the Avicenaraka purgatory. Waves of evil spirits were produced in one's body. In one's mind, there was an impulse to immediately go on a killing spree. The two passageways were extremely deep. They were like two terrifying whirlpools that constantly sucked people in. Legend has it that the banished land is between the source continent and the demon god continent. Looks like it's true. The two passageways in front of us lead to the source continent and the demon god continent respectively. As long as we follow the passageways, we will be able to enter one of them. Mengshi said thoughtfully. Back to the source continent. Di Shirtian took a deep look at the passageway on the right. That passageway led to the demon god continent. Now, as long as he wanted to, He could easily drive the demon god city into the demon god continent. However, once he entered, it would be difficult to come out again. Moreover, the demon god continent was the nest of the demon gods. Who knew how many terrifying demon gods lived there? Legend had it that when the demon god continent was first born, there were 3,000 great demon gods. They gave birth to various major races, and the most powerful of them all were the 12 demon gods. Right now, he had no intention of directly provoking the entire fiend god continent. Once they entered, even the 1,000 demon city would be smashed to pieces. Boom! The 1,000 fiend city shook slightly and quickly approached the tunnel on the left. Once it got close, a strong suction force came from the tunnel and pulled the ancient city into the tunnel. In the passageway, countless distorted and chaotic space-time forces pulled at everything in the passageway. This kind of chaotic space-time force could easily crush even the ancient overlord. However, as soon as they arrived outside the ancient city, the 4 heavenly gates burst forth with immortal power, the power of annihilation, suppressing all the power. The Imperial Jade Archive continued to devour the chaotic power of space-time within, fusing it into the time and space Tao talismans in the Jade Archive. The chaotic rules had a huge effect on the completion of the talisman. Rumble! In the void of the illusory island, which contained countless spaces, a huge crack suddenly appeared. The entire void was like a piece of glass, with countless terrifying cracks that crisscrossed across it. The void shattered, and a vast ancient city appeared in the sky above the illusory island. Around it, countless auspicious clouds covered the entire ancient city. Only the 4 heavenly gates were faintly discernible in the auspicious clouds, as if they were the heavenly gates that led to the immortal realm. On the ancient gates, there was a mysterious majesty that made people unconsciously cautious and respectful the moment they saw the heavenly gate. It was as if they were the most ancient existence in the world. The countless space-time faults in the illusory island could not swallow the ancient city. A large number of bubble-like fantasy realms rolled toward the ancient city, trying to swallow it. However, as soon as the fantasy realms got close to the ancient city, they were mysteriously swallowed into the ancient city and quickly rushed into the demonic well in the 1,000 demon city. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, in the demonic well, a series of spaces appeared and attached themselves to the 1,000 demon city. These spaces quickly grew and were filled with the vast primordial chi from the Imperial Jade Archive. Earth, mountains, rivers, and primordial chi of heaven and earth appeared. Although it was not as good as the 3,000 worlds born in the core universe, each of the 3,000 worlds in the core universe was derived from a great Tao. It contained the true essence of the great Tao. It was the real core. However, these spaces formed by the fantasy realms, under the support of the Imperial Jade Archive, were no longer fragile and could be destroyed at any time. Instead, they were extremely sturdy. They were very stable. Here, life could be reproduced and living beings could be cultivated. The space within the 1,000 demon city was expanded. It could accommodate billions of living beings. The 4 heavenly gates, that's the 1,000 demon city. The 1,000 demon city has finally appeared. The rumors are true. As long as the demons get the news that the tiger soul has appeared here, they will definitely come with the 1,000 demon city. Now, it's true. The tiger soul is the demon emperor's personal weapon, a personal treasure. It may contain the demon emperor's remnant soul, so the demons will definitely come. They must have sensed the demon emperor's aura just now. As such, the tiger soul was swallowed into the void serpent's stomach. It seems that the 1,000 demon city has descended to rescue the demon emperor. The 1,000 demon city has appeared. There are billions of demons in the city, endless treasures, and endless wealth. It's simply an inexhaustible treasure trove. The purpose of the League of Demon Slayers was to deal with it. There would probably be an earth-shattering battle soon. Back in the demon realm, this ancient city was simply boundlessly ferocious. Even the demon god was suppressed just like that. Even a supreme divine artifact could not keep it here. It's not an ordinary fierce. If they fight, it will definitely be an ancient battle that has never been seen before in thousands of years. The sudden arrival of the Thousand Demon City, with the characteristics of the 4 heavenly gates, almost instantly made all the surrounding witnesses recognize its identity on the spot. All of a sudden, countless discussions spread throughout the entire island. However, at this moment, in the city's prison, whoosh, right in front of Shin Gongbao, an ancient heavenly gate suddenly appeared in the prison cell, just in front of him, only 10 steps away from him. Countless mysterious runes appeared on the heavenly gate, intertwining together to form a strange charm. Behind the gate was a deep abyss, as if it led to an unknown place. Shin Gongbao suddenly stood up and stared at the heavenly gate on the spot. It's really the projection of the heavenly gate. It can't be wrong. Back then, I was tricked into the prison like this. It actually appeared. Could it be that the Demon King's bet is not fake, but real? The moment he saw the heavenly gate, the doubts that arose when he made the bet with Di Shirtian suddenly disappeared. However, there was a trace of surprise. The Demon King actually agreed to the bet. Alright, since I've made a bet, I, Shingong, don't believe that once I'm out of the heavenly prison, there won't be anyone who can stop me, Shingong, even if it's the 9 great forbidden lands, even if I have to sacrifice a lot of my vitality, I still have a chance to escape. Let me see how powerful the Demon King's plan is. Shin Gongbao stood in front of the heavenly gate, his expression changed. Obviously, he was a little surprised and doubtful. However, in the blink of an eye, he calmed down. He made a decision in his heart. He would not be frightened by a heavenly gate. He would be scared and not move forward. The sky is high for birds to fly, and the sea is wide for fish to swim. Today, I, Shin Gongbao, will definitely go out of the prison. Shin Gongbao no longer hesitated. He stepped forward and stepped into the heavenly gate. Whoosh! A light flashed in the heavenly gate, and a strange power flashed. In the blink of an eye, Shin Gongbao's figure had completely disappeared from the prison. In this regard, the bloody generals who were guarding outside received the order and did not move at all. They just calmly watched Shin Gongbao leave. At the same time, in a vast and boundless void, a golden saber stood upright, and the divine light on the saber was restrained. Suddenly, the divine light on the saber flashed. An ancient heavenly gate condensed out of thin air. Light flashed in the heavenly gate, and countless runes flowed as if they were alive. In the heavenly gate, a figure stepped out. Haha, I, Shin Gongbao, am finally out of prison. Shin Gongbao, who was dressed in a green Taoist robe, looked up to the sky and laughed. The moment he appeared, he felt that this was definitely not the Demon City. There was no aura of the Demon City at all. He was definitely already outside the Demon City. The original doubts in his heart were all thrown to the back of his mind. He took a deep breath and felt the air of freedom. He turned his head to look at the heavenly gate behind him and the tiger's soul beside it. He knew that the heavenly gate in front of him was connected to the prison. Once he entered, he would return to the prison. But how could he go back? He said confidently, I won't go back to the prison again. Let me see what this place is. He fixed his eyes and glanced around. He saw that what he saw was only a vast and boundless void. In the void, there were deep black holes of various sizes. The black holes rotated, like fierce beasts that were ready to choose people to devour at any time. Such black holes were everywhere in the void. In the depths of the void, there was an incomparably huge black sun. This sun radiated light that covered the entire void. At first glance, it seemed very close, just inches away. But in the blink of an eye, it seemed to be at the end of the world, at the end of the horizon, abnormally far away. Where is this? I have traveled to countless dangerous places in the ancient times. Any disaster can be turned into my power of disaster. Why don't I recognize this place? It's strange. After a closer look, Shingong's expression suddenly became quite serious. The power and essence in my body are flowing away, as if they are being sucked away by this void. What's going on? He immediately noticed the strangeness of the space. He thought seriously to himself, no matter what this place is, I'll show myself first. He waved the horsetail whisk in his hand in front of him. On the 3,000 strands of the horsetail whisk, there seemed to be countless terrifying power of disaster evolving and brewing. Doomsday natural disaster, lightning natural disaster, spacetime disaster, and so on. The power of disaster gathered together and instantly burst forth with supreme power. Gotcha! This horsetail whisk, in the 10,000 worlds, would probably immediately tear a terrifying crack. However, on the void in front of him, the void in front of him only rippled like water. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 819. I've just returned from a long journey. First update, it's going to explode at the end of the month. Brothers, those who have tickets, please buy tickets. By the way, ask for next month's monthly tickets in advance. The power of calamity contained in the dust was strangely extracted by a strange power when it lashed out at the void. It was unable to tear open this strange void and break through it to break through it. Shingong's body shook, and he said in surprise, "Impossible, what is this place? Not only can it devour my spiritual power, but even with my current power of disaster, misfortune, and evil combined into one, and stepping into the ancient divine demon realm, there is no way to completely tear it apart. What the hell is this place?" There was a faint, strong rhythm in his heart. There was no way to stop the spiritual power in his body. It was constantly being inexplicably absorbed and drained away. Infinite Realms Teleportation Technique. A silver-white light flashed on his body, and he took a step forward. With this step, it was as if there were 10,000 realms flashing under his feet. With this step, he could move and cross the 10,000 realms. No matter how powerful the restriction was, it was difficult to stop the most powerful and wonderful secret technique of the Tao of space. This step was so close, yet so far. However, when he stepped out, his whole body was still in this inexplicable space, as if he was completely separated from the outside world. Even the Infinite Realms Teleportation Technique could not travel out. At this time, even Shingong's face changed. Doomsday Storm. With a wave of his long sleeve, a pitch-black storm that connected the sky and the earth instantly blew up. On the spot, it blew up the sky and the earth, and almost destroyed the void. The momentum was vast and terrifying, and it swept over a radius of tens of thousands of feet. However, the strange thing was that when this doomsday storm appeared, it was extremely terrifying. It covered the sky and the sun, and the void was suddenly covered in darkness. But the strange thing was that in the blink of an eye, the entire storm was rapidly weakening at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, it shrank to the size of a few thousand feet. After a few more breaths, the doomsday storm strangely collapsed and disappeared. There was no destructive power left. The wind was strong, but the rain was small. That black sun may be the key to this void. Maybe I can find a way out when I get there. Shingong pondered in his heart as he walked forward step by step. His footsteps seemed to contain a natural path, and he was already a few hundred meters away in the blink of an eye. He had already unconsciously activated his divine ability, Earth Shrinking. In the blink of an eye, his figure had already disappeared. For a time, only Tiger Soul and the lonely Heaven's Gate remained in the air, silently standing there. At the same time, the atmosphere in the sky above the illusory island became extremely oppressive. It was as if one could not even breathe. It was as if one was suffocating. Countless pairs of eyes simultaneously looked at the faintly discernible myriad demon city within the auspicious clouds. The majority of their eyes were actually filled with greed. The Myriad Demon City. It's the Myriad Demon City. It's finally here. Good, very good. Today I will destroy this demon city. What unparalleled ancient city. In front of my sinless city, everything is nothing. They were all about to shatter. All the treasures inside will be plundered. As for the demon emperor's woman, I will also snatch her away and ruthlessly ravage her. Otherwise, how can this prince's hatred be erased? Sin King Black Pupil's mind was completely controlled by a crazy thought. His mind was filled with all kinds of terrifying desires. Even his face had become abnormally ferocious and terrifying. Whoosh! Chains of sin rapidly condensed and appeared around the sinless city. As if they had a life of their own, they quickly waved around like an octopus. Rumble! The ancient city shook and directly charged toward the Myriad Demon City. That hatred burned his heart and mind. This Black Pupil is really abominable. He actually dared to insult His Majesty, the Demon Empress, Concubine Xiang, and the others. He really deserves to die. Qihua requests for the Azure Dragon Army to return. I will lead the Azure Dragon Army to capture this Black Pupil and await your Majesty's punishment. In the main hall, the demons were furious. The dark light mirror had captured the scene outside without missing a single detail. When it fell into the eyes and ears of the demons in the Lingxiao Palace, they all had the urge to die for their master's humiliation. Qihua's eyes were spitting fire. He directly stood up and loudly requested for battle. Chun Shi, the soliciting moon saintess, Bai Hu, Little White, and the others all sat together in the main hall. Their faces were filled with anger. The demons felt the same way. How dare you insult my niece? It seems that I, Huluzi, have been in the demon realm for so many years that I have forgotten my name. Huluzi's body emitted a terrifying murderous aura. Chen Shi was his niece. How could he not be furious? Killing intent gushed out of his heart like a fountain. I will naturally not let this Black Pupil live. However, now is not the time. I have set up today's trap to distinguish between friend and foe. This way, the demon race will be able to distinguish between friend and foe and return to the Myriad Demon realm. Therefore, I will remember this for now. After cultivating in the land of exile for so many years, there will be a time for you all to show yourselves to the Myriad Demon realm. Di Shirtian's face became more dignified. However, he did not immediately allow the demons to attack. The trap in front of them had just started to take effect. How could it be wasted now? However, a strong killing intent also emerged in his heart. So what if his father was He Xianfeng, a peerless expert? This time, he must kill them all. Don't be presumptuous. Big Brother D is our benefactor. Even if Big Brother D is really dead, no force can have any ideas about the demon city that he left behind. A clear and pleasant voice sounded. That's right. The Li race has never been ungrateful. Today, with us, Tu Xing's son and his sister here, no one can hurt sister-in-law. At the same time, a firm voice sounded. Rumble! On the left side of the sinless city, the void suddenly distorted. Amidst the distortion, one could see an incomparably huge divine temple that exuded a heavy divine aura. This divine temple was formed by 108 earthen yellow divine pillars that reached the sky. On the divine pillars, there were majestic totems carved on them. As soon as this divine palace appeared, it immediately slammed into the sinless city. The entire temple was like the most powerful Hercules in the world. The power it unleashed was almost enough to pierce through the void. Caught off guard, the huge sinless city was sent flying to the right, and countless chains of sin were smashed into pieces. This power could turn the earth upside down, shatter the heavens and shatter the stars into dust. This power was simply unparalleled and unstoppable. Anything that stood in front of it would be smashed into dust in front of this power. This kind of domineering power instantly shocked everyone. Damn it, you all deserve to die. Li race, didn't you guys hide underground and never come out? Why do you have to go against I? All of you, go to hell. Red Lotus karmic fire, burn everything, turn to ashes. The sinless city shook, and a huge red lotus karmic fire roared and blasted towards the divine palace. Guardians of the divine palace, earth god demon, heed the ancient call. Use the earth war spear in your hands to kill all evil. One of the divine pillars that connected to the sky in the terrene shrine emitted a brilliant earthen yellow divine light, and the totem image engraved on it instantly came to life. A 60,000 feet tall god-fiend with a human head and a snake body, holding onto an earthen yellow battle spear, darted out and appeared before the shrine. The great earth battle spear pierced out toward the red lotus with a fierce gaze. The spear carried with it an incomparably heavy force of the earth. It contained an endless amount of power. Humph! The demon city is only at the pinnacle of the unparalleled grade. Today, this crown prince will let the world know that my heartless heavenly vessel is the strongest war treasure in the world. The strongest divine weapon. 8 Desolation Emperor Dragon Fist. Leaderless dragons. From the golden dragon that was tens of thousands of feet long, there was a merciless roar as it punched out. Leaderless dragons. Countless emperor dragons crazily blasted out from the dragon claws and appeared in the vast void. A snake couldn't do without a head, and a dragon couldn't do without a head. Once the dragons were leaderless, there would be chaos and terrifying wars and massacres. Overturning the world, there was a terrifying destructive force that could destroy heaven and earth. This move was meant to destroy heaven and earth. Leaderless dragons, overturning heaven and earth. Despicable brat, your eternal emperor dynasty stole the corpses of our ancestors from the dragon graveyard. You have blasphemed against our ancestors' souls. You deserve to be exterminated. Now you want to attack the demon city? Don't you know that in the ancient times, the dragon race was also a member of the demon race? How dare you act so presumptuously here? Today I'll kill you first. In the future, when I enter the eternal emperor dynasty, if I don't turn the world upside down, where will the dignity of the dragon race be? Dong dong dong! A beautiful crystal dragon palace appeared on the illusory island. This crystal dragon palace was extremely beautiful, and there were countless bubbles rising from it. There were beautiful corals swaying in the water, and all kinds of pictures of aquatic creatures were vivid and lifelike. There were also countless pictures of the dragon race and the history of the dragon race. In the Crystal Dragon Palace, a ferocious general of the crab race held a pair of dragon head drum hammers in his hands. In front of him was a golden war drum that was at least 3,000 feet long. On the surface of the war drum, there were countless images of the dragon race. Each of them looked extremely ferocious and domineering. There was a vast dragon's might. It seemed to be roaring to the heavens. There were natural patterns on the skin. They were all mystical dragon patterns. Countless dragon scales were densely distributed on the drum. It exuded a noble aura. On the drum, there was an aura of the ancestral dragon of the dragon race. Any dragon who saw this drum would naturally feel a terrifying pressure. It seemed to be the ancestral dragon drum that was made from the skin of the ancestral dragon. When the ancestral dragon drum was beaten, there seemed to be countless divine dragons roaring in the drum. The golden sound waves rushed towards the 10,000 emperor dragons that were rushing towards the demon city. Wherever the sound waves passed, the emperor dragons could not even resist. They obediently followed the sound waves and rushed into the ancestral dragon drum happily. All those who resisted were completely defeated on the spot. On the spot, he defeated the leaderless fist force. Well done. Kill him. How dare he blaspheme the ancestors of our dragon race? He deserves to die. He even dared to blaspheme Sister Qinshi. He deserves to die even more. With us here, let's see who dares to hurt the demon city. Ao Qing and her sisters cheered. The dragon race attacked without hesitation. It was obvious that they were on the demon race's side. They had not forgotten their ancient identities. This scene was seen by the demon race of the Lingshao Palace. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 820. Damn, I sat in the car for an entire day yesterday, and when I came back, I did my best to write the first chapter. I'm a little tired today, and my head is a little dizzy. However, since I said I would explode, then I will definitely complete it. The Li clan and the Dragon clan, I didn't expect them to block the Sinless City and the Heartless Heavenly Ship. Meng Shi was a little surprised as she muttered to herself. This is all thanks to His Majesty. If not for His Majesty befriending the Tuxing Sun siblings in the Thousand Calamity Cave abode, and saving their lives at a critical moment, with the Li clan's clean and honest nature, they would not have helped at all. They are just returning the favor. Bai Hu and Su Tianxiang said thoughtfully. The Li clan's action was to express their attitude to the various worlds, and to completely stand on the side of the Demon clan. Under the establishment of the Demon Suppression Alliance, this action was undoubtedly a choice with no way out. This was the cause that was planted back then, and now it was the result. An eye for an eye, it was indeed right. We have heard from our ancestors in the Heavenly Demon Secret Mirror that in ancient times, the Demon clan was unprecedentedly strong, and the Dragon clan was once the royal family of the Demon clan. They were the leader of the scales in the world, and had the same status as the leader of the Phoenix Feathers. It was only later that they separated and formed their own clan, but in the end they were still part of the Demon clan. They did not sit back and watch the Demon clan be bullied for no reason. Old Fox said, as if he had gained something from it. He had a good understanding of Di Shirtian's purpose of setting up the situation. This was to force the various worlds to show their stance. Those who could stand up now, no matter what their purpose was, were at least trustworthy allies. This way, when they returned to the purple gold mainland, they would not be alone. Instead, they could use the power of all sides to gain a firm foothold. Moreover, if they were not in danger, how could they really tell who was sincere and who was not? They had a deep understanding of how Di Shirtian used the heaven-shrouding mirror to hide the vast divine power of the demon city. It was definitely not just for the sake of tricking people. However, from the looks of it, I'm afraid that these two are not the only ones spying on our Thousand Demon City. Meng Shi scanned the outside through the dark light mirror. She saw that there were still countless cultivators around the illusory Void Island who were ready to make a move. Evildoers, everyone has the right to kill them. The Demon Emperor destroyed the foundation of the Thousand Beasts sect in the Purple Gold continent back then. Today, he will use the entire Thousand Beast City to pay for it. Any evildoer, in front of the 5 godly beast mountains of the Thousand Beasts sect, must bow down and submit. Rumble? It was a huge mountain that exuded a vast pressure. With a loud rumble, he broke into the illusory island. The pressure emitted from the illusory island was enough to make all the beasts in the world tremble and submit to it. It was as if he had seen an incomparably noble existence. On the shaking fantasy island, it was unknown how many space faults had collapsed. The Thousand Beasts sect. That's the Thousand Beasts sect's battle island, the 5-directional divine beast mountain. He had always heard that they had such a battle island. It was said that the ancestors of their sect had obtained the corpses of the 5 divine beasts and refined it with the souls and bones of countless beasts. This godly beast mountain is said to be the nemesis of the demon clan. There are countless demon cages and demon prisons in it. The Thousand Beasts sect's foundation in the Purple Gold continent was destroyed by the Demon Emperor. This time they have made a comeback. With the blood feud between them, I'm afraid that there will be a bloody battle. This time, the Thousand Beasts sect, no, it should be the imperial family of the Thousand Beasts imperial dynasty, the 3rd imperial uncle Lu Qianqiu. The Thousand Beasts sect is just a branch of the Thousand Beasts imperial dynasty. It was built to sell all kinds of spiritual beasts and demonic beasts. The huge godly mountain that appeared on the illusory void island was terrifying. It was made up of countless bones and bones. Moreover, it was made up of 5 mountains. One was the Green Dragon Mountain, one was the Vermilion Bird Mountain, one was the Black Tortoise Mountain, one was the White Tiger Mountain, and one was the Chelan Mountain. Every mountain was like its name. It had the appearance of the Green Dragon, Vermilion Bird, and the other godly beasts. Moreover, it was made up of the complete bones of the 5 godly beasts. The bones were all gathered together. Every bone was connected together like a dragon's vein. It looked like there were countless terrifying cages in it. Although it was called the Thousand Beasts Sect, there were countless experts in this place. They immediately revealed the Thousand Beasts Sect's foundation. Behind them, there was the Thousand Beasts Imperial Dynasty. The Thousand Beasts Sect was just a chess piece pushed forward by the Thousand Beasts Imperial Dynasty. The Thousand Beasts Sect has also jumped out. The Thousand Beasts Imperial Dynasty? I didn't go and look for them. They are actually courting death. Good, very good. At this moment, the moment he witnessed the appearance of the 5 mythological beast mountains, even though the majesty on Sakra's face didn't decrease, he spat out a cold sentence. The demonic beasts in the hall felt the same way. They all knew about the grudge between the Thousand Beasts Sect and the Demon Emperor. When the master was humiliated, the servants would die. They all asked for battle. We are willing to fight and capture the Thousand Beasts Sect. We will fight our way into the Thousand Beasts Imperial Dynasty. We will completely destroy the Thousand Beasts realm. Their eyes were filled with intense battle intent. There's no need to say any more. I didn't expect the Thousand Beasts Sect to have the Thousand Beasts Imperial Dynasty behind them. No wonder they dared to be so arrogant. Ai's mother was also poisoned by the Thousand Beasts Sect. This debt must be settled. However, we have to wait and see if there are any friends who are willing to ally with us. Although Di Shirtian was burning with anger, he wasn't unable to maintain his composure. Now, he hadn't achieved his goal. It wasn't good for him to panic. He still had to wait and see. He coldly swept his gaze over the 5 divine beast mountains in the profound light mirror, and said, "It's good that they've come. Enemies like the Thousand Beasts Sect, the more the better. This emperor has dug such a big hole here. If I don't come here more, wouldn't it be a waste of my effort?" His eyes revealed an iron-blooded killing intent. "That's right. Your Majesty dug a hole to bury people. The more people who come, the better we will bury them." Baiwe coldly spat out these words. 5 godly beasts, suppress the 5 directions and the 4 extremes. Bow down and watch me break this bullshit Heaven's Gate. Black Tortoise, flood the southern Heaven's Gate. On the godly beast mountains, there were countless soldiers in beast armor standing on top. Every one of them exuded a beastly murderous aura. Below them, there were many ferocious battle beasts. Ferocious battle beasts pounced forward. These were the Tao soldiers of the Thousand Beasts Imperial Dynasty. The Thousand Beasts battle soldiers. Every one of them exuded a ferocious aura that wasn't inferior to the big ancient demons. With the resources of an Imperial Dynasty, the strength of a Tao soldier that was trained was definitely not an ordinary level of strength. Among the Thousand Beasts battle soldiers, there was a middle-aged general in dragon-scale battle armor. He was riding a David steer. This general exuded a noble aura. He looked at the Thousand Beasts city with a cold smile and gave an order. Instantly, the 5 godly beast mountains shook violently. Black waves burst out from the Black Tortoise Peak. Rumble! Boundless black water gushed out from the giant Black Tortoise's mouth. Everywhere it passed, even the void seemed to be devoured. It was earth-shattering, with a ferocious aura that could drown everything. 9 heavens weak water, it's actually the 9 heavens weak water. Any drop of this weak water would instantly turn into a vast lake. No fish or shrimp would be able to survive in it. It's simply exterminating everything. Even a feather wouldn't be able to float. Every drop is as heavy as Mount Tai. If it surges over, it might even crush Myriad Demon City. The Thousand Beasts Imperial Dynasty took out the godly Beast Mountains to deal with the Thousand Beasts City. They want to kill them. Some of the cultivators recognized the origin of this evil water and were secretly shocked. The black water gushed towards the southern Heaven's Gate. It was going to drown the southern Heaven's Gate and the Thousand Beasts City. It was ferocious, like a flood that had broken through the dam. On the other side, the Li tribe and the Dragon tribe were fighting against Zhu Wuqing and He Tong. They couldn't free themselves to block the water. Rumble! However, at this moment, in the boundless void, a ray of dazzling starlight fell from the sky. This ray of starlight connected the heavens and the earth. It had a boundless ability that could pierce through the sun and the moon. Amidst the starlight, 9 connected stars appeared before the eyes of the all-heavens cultivators. There was a mysterious connection between the 9 stars. They formed a line, and between them, the starlight was connected. Although they were 9 separate stars, they seemed to be connected as one. Among the 9 stars, one of the bright stars that was emitting icy blue starlight suddenly emitted an endless amount of starlight. The blue light within it suddenly reversed and blocked in front of the southern heaven gate. The weak water that filled the sky seemed to be attracted by a strange force and rushed into the star. However, in the blink of an eye, it disappeared. Not only was it not destroyed, but it also made the light emitted by the star even more intense. It devoured the weak water without a sound. 9-star pearl. That's the Stellar Tribe's ultimate treasure, the 9-star pearl. Legend has it that the 9-star pearl has the supreme power to travel through time and space. I can't believe it appeared here. Is the Stellar Tribe also siding with the Thousand Beast City? What's so special about the Thousand Beast City? The beasts have long declined. Why are there so many factions willing to help them? Is it because of the Beast's Emperor? That's impossible. Why would the Beast's Emperor ask for their help? The cultivators in the All Heavens were in disbelief. The scene before them was completely different from what they had imagined. According to their expectations, the cultivators in the All Heavens should be joining forces with the League of Monster Suppression to besiege the Thousand Beasts City and plunder everything in the city. Anyone who dares to help the Thousand Beasts City will be the enemy of the League of Monster Suppression and the Fiend Black Patriarch's enemy. No one can save the Thousand Beasts City today. The Builder Tree supports the sky and exterminates all beasts. Cultivator Juxian panicked when he saw the obstacles appearing one after another. Even the Black Demon Young Master's black pupil was entangled. He roared angrily and activated the Juxian Island, which was completely made of Builder Tree. Countless branches and roots waved ferociously as if they were alive. They crossed the boundary of the void and wrapped around the southern heavenly gate. Every root and branch was sharper than an arrow. Terrifying holes were pierced through the void. Wherever they passed, the primal chi in the surroundings, including the power of space and chaotic primal chi, were devoured by the root. Wherever it passed, no yuan chi could be found within the area it enveloped. Everything was plundered. It was like a barren land. At this moment, in that foreign and vast space, a lone figure was using the Earth-shrink ability to constantly chase after the black sun that seemed to be right in front of him, but who knew how far away it was. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 821. The third update has arrived. I am indeed not in good spirits today, but the update is completed. Please vote for those who have monthly vote. The new month has arrived. However, it seemed that every black sun was not static, but constantly moving. You were chasing forward, and they were running forward as if they were chasing the sun. The longer they chased, the longer the distance between them did not seem to shorten at all. Oh my God, I can't be so unlucky. What the hell is this place? Why is the void so vast? With my speed, I have already traversed 2 or 3 boundless worlds, but I can't see the end of it. Strange, too strange. God won't be so cruel to me, Shengong, right? I am so pitiful. Shengongbao felt that he was not even a little bit closer to the black sun. His face, which was full of confidence at the beginning, gradually darkened. Now, his face was as black as the bottom of a pot, and even his nose was about to be crooked. He stopped and looked at the void speechlessly, his face full of sadness. What a tragedy! Right now, he felt like he was a cup set on the coffee table. In this strange void, the fa-li and cultivation in his body were being drained at every moment. The more he tried to circulate, the faster it was draining. After it was drained, he couldn't get it back at all. After chasing for so long, nearly half of his Dharma power had been consumed. Even though Shengongbao was not afraid of anything, now he was a little pale. No, this void is too strange. If I can't find a way out, I am afraid that once all my Dharma power is gone, even I will be completely trapped in this damn place. It seems that I still have to calculate and see what kind of place this void is. Shengongbao gritted his teeth, stretched out his left hand, and quickly calculated. This calculation seemed to consume a lot of essence qi. His face was faintly pale. Moreover, the more he calculated, the worse the color on his face became. After a long time, the calculation in his hand stopped. Shengongbao looked up to the sky with no tears. With a sad face, he cried, "Di Shirtian, you tricked me again?" That sorrowful cry was almost like crying. Seeing the sadness, Shengongbao felt as if he had experienced it himself. It almost made all things feel sad, penetrating the whole void. Void serpent, damn it, how can there still be a void serpent in this world? Weren't they supposed to have gone extinct in ancient times? Di Shirtian, you tricked me so badly. The space inside the belly of the void serpent is the most terrifying place in the world. It is known as the dark netherworld. The void here is constantly changing. No wonder I couldn't get out. Damn it, if this is the belly of the void serpent, then that black sun I was chasing just now. Shengongbao's face was as dark as if he had just eaten feces, as if he had been poisoned. He had been tricked. He had been tricked. When he made the bet, he didn't think about the void serpent at all. Who would have thought that such an abnormal guy would exist? It was obvious that the demon emperor had purposely chosen this damned place to release him. His goal was to win that bet. Moreover, he had almost calculated everything. The void serpent's stomach was constantly absorbing dermic powers. Any attack would be instantly absorbed and used to expand the dark netherworld. Not only would it not harm it, but it would also make it stronger. It was simply a monster. After it was used up, there was no way to replenish it. If he couldn't find the way out after entering, he would be dead. How could he not know this now? Di Shirtian had made this bet because he knew the ins and outs of the void serpent. He had purposely lured him in. Once he entered, there were only 2 ways to get out. The first was to exit through the anus of the void serpent. The void serpent would expel the residual qi in its body every 100 years. If he could endure until then, he would still have a chance to survive even if he was shameless. The second was to leave through the gate of heaven. However, the gate of heaven was definitely connected to the imperial prison. Demon Emperor, oh Demon Emperor, you're still so cunning. For the first time, Shengongbao felt a deep sense of sorrow. Back in the chaotic lands, he had been trapped in the imperial prison for some unknown reason. Until now, he had charged in himself. Even now, he still regretted stepping into the gate of heaven and almost wanted to chop off his own leg. Now, the Demon Emperor had made it clear that he wanted to return to the imperial prison again. His heart turned cold. I'm so pitiful! A heart-wrenching roar reverberated in the void. The void serpent that was entrenched on the sacred mountain narrowed its eyes and stared at the changing battle situation in front of it with interest. Suddenly, the huge snake's body trembled. Its entire body shuddered, and a chill ran down its spine. It could not help but look around in confusion. Whoosh! At the same time, the roots of the builder tree were like countless terrifying pythons. They quickly wrapped around the southern gate of heaven. Waves of vast energy flowed through the root. Countless roots were taut and straight, trying to pull the southern gate of heaven away from the demon city. However, the southern gate of heaven was as steady as Mount Tai. Even the vast power of the builder tree could not pull it away. It was as if it had grown roots. Fine. If you can't pull it away, then I'll destroy you. Rumble. The branches danced like spiritual snakes and whipped crazily toward the gate of heaven from all directions. Each branch sucked away all the vitality in the surroundings. The whipping caused the void to shatter. Thousands of branches whipped the gate of heaven. Immediately, the power of all the heavens shook the entire gate of heaven. Even the demon city, which stood in the air, was shaking violently. Oh no, the demon city is about to be breached. In the amethyst bamboo boat, Katomi, who had witnessed this scene, changed her expression again. Her mind was shaken, and she could not help but pick up the green silk zither to help. Silly girl, why can't you understand? Look, from the beginning until now, since the appearance of the 1,000-demon city, has there been the slightest sign of its might? The demon city suppressed everyone in the demon realm in the past, and even dared to fight for the supreme divine artifact. Isn't it strange that they have not shown any signs of doing anything? The know-it-all looked at Katomi helplessly. He shook his head and sighed bitterly. If she was troubled by love, she would lose all rationality. With his experience and vision, he understood that the scene in front of him seemed to be a trap. Moreover, it seemed that the trap was not small and was prepared to bury a group of ghosts. Interesting, tisk tsk. I want to see what kind of trump cards this little brat is hiding. Now he dares to start digging a trap and sending people to jump into it. Moreover, it seems that there are many people who are rushing to jump into the trap these days. The know-it-all said while drinking wine. Sure enough, the demon city was powerless in front of Jian Shu. All of a sudden, the cultivators in the surroundings had their eyes lit up. The demon city can't resist. Could it be that this ancient city was personally built by the demon emperor? So, except for the demon emperor, the other demon clans have no way to really activate the power of the ancient city. Now there is no resistance at all. Great, no wonder there has been no movement since it appeared. This time, it is the will of heaven to destroy the demon clan. The Demon Suppression Alliance follows the will of heaven. Quick, now is the time to take action and get a share of the pie. Break the gate of heaven and rush into the demon city. Plunder the boundless wealth. Seeing that the demon city did not show any signs of resistance, many cultivators who had been blinded by desire immediately began to clamor and stir. Everyone attack. The eyes of the all-heavens cultivators turned red. At the thought of the wealth contained in the demon city, any danger was instantly thrown to the back of their minds. In an instant, hundreds of thousands of cultivators could no longer hold back. Bursts of divine light burst forth from their bodies as they rode on various Dharma treasures and charged toward the 4 heavenly gates that had appeared in the demon city. Rumble! All kinds of lightning, storms, Dharma spells, and Dharma treasures bombarded the heavenly gates like a tide. The all-heavens cultivators did not dare to approach the southern heavenly gate because of the builder tree outside. Instead, they surrounded the other 3 heavenly gates. However, just as the thousands of attacks were about to land on the east heaven's gate, a strange fragrance suddenly wafted out in front of the heaven's gate. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye appeared in the void, and within the ripples, a 7-colored picture scroll suddenly appeared in front of the heaven's gate. There seemed to be a mysterious power in the painting that strangely swallowed the thousands of attacks. Ha ha! Waves of clear and enchanting laughter rang out from the painting. On the surface of the painting, there was a strange and variegated light. Within the painting, one could see numerous celestial fairies with perfect figures clad in immortal robes appearing one after another. Within the painting, they laughed and danced gracefully, their movements graceful and graceful. Every movement and every laugh had a heart-pounding feeling. Their minds were captivated. They felt that the people in the painting were simply like immortals. The painting flapped and rolled, and hundreds of thousands of cultivators were strangely swept into the painting. Go! Many people surrounding the illusory island were watching. Seeing that there was not much danger, they were all ready to make a move. Then, a shout came out of nowhere. Suddenly, the fortress ships, battle islands, and ancient cities in the surroundings shook and burst out with dazzling divine light. In an instant, they charged into the illusory island like a swarm of bees. These islands, ships, and ancient cities were all formidable weapons of war that had been refined by the powers of all sizes in the universe. They were powered by various precious treasures like pools of lightning, artificial spirit pearls, icy pools, blazing cores, and so on and so forth. As soon as they were activated, all of them emanated dazzling divine radiance. All kinds of terrifying auras shook the void. In the void, one could see countless pieces of ice sealing 1,000 miles, and countless flames burning the void to ashes. All of them howled as they attacked Myriad Demon City. It was like the end of the world. Your Majesty, these cultivators are truly ambitious. As expected, they acted as soon as they heard the news and wanted to carve up our Myriad Demon City. They should all be killed. Your humble subject requests to battle. Intense battle intent burst out of Yuan Zhan. There's no hurry. These are just clowns. Attacking as a group? In I's eyes, they're just a mob. As long as one person takes action, they can be easily defeated. I'm sure it's time for him to vent the anger in his chest. Di Tian smiled mysteriously. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 822. The first update has been delivered. Those of you who have guaranteed monthly votes, please help me push it up. Today, I looked at the book reviews and realized that some people said that I have only updated 3 chapters in 2 days. I am really speechless about this. The day before yesterday, I had to go out for some business. I had already updated 2 chapters in advance, and I definitely did not stop. In 2 days, I have already updated 5 chapters. So, while you are scolding me, please take a look at the number of chapters one have updated. Wait. Di Tian had been waiting for the most important person to make the final decision. He was sure that by now, Shun Gongbao must have realized where he was. He had once read an unofficial history in the belly of the Void Serpent, and there was a certain record of the Void Serpent. The Void Serpent was a kind of anomaly, and could only be born in a place where the power of the void gathered. The Void Serpent was at least 3,000 feet long when it was born. Moreover, it could swallow the sky when it opened its mouth. It would be difficult for experts below the level of ancient giants to escape once they were swallowed into its stomach. Once it grew to 10,000 years, its power would become even more terrifying. The void in its body was vast and boundless. It could constantly absorb the yuan qi and spiritual power of everything that entered its body. Even if an ancient powerhouse were to enter, their magic power would be completely depleted. Even the immortal body would decay and be refined. Unless there was a special technique to cultivate the void real body. Only then would it be possible to control the loss of spiritual power. The void would become more stable and strange. It would be difficult for any attack to break the void. If the land of exile could only be torn apart by a heaven-defying battle strength, then the dark underworld in the Void Serpent's body would be several times more difficult to tear apart than the land of exile. Once the Void Serpent reached 1,000,000 years old, It could swallow countless spaces, and its body would reach a length of 10,000 feet. It would grow 10 feet a year. At that time, the void serpent could even swallow peerless experts. It could be seen how ferocious it was. Back in the ancient times, the demon god continent and the source continent fought. They fought into the endless void. Several peerless experts almost destroyed the void, but they alarmed a sleeping void serpent. In a rage, it opened its mouth and swallowed those peerless experts into its stomach, never to be seen again. At that time, its ferocious name spread across the heavens. It was because he knew about this. That was why Di-Shir-Tian had a flash of inspiration when the void serpent swallowed the tiger soul. He had left the tiger soul in the void serpent's body. In addition, he had left a trace of divine will in the tiger soul to communicate with him. It condensed the projection of the heavenly gate that connected the void serpent and the demon city. Otherwise, how could he have made that bet with Shengong? He was sure that no matter how evil Shen Gongbao was, it would be difficult for him to escape from the belly of the void serpent. In the end, due to the exhaustion of his magic power, he had no choice but to return to the prison. "May I know who your majesty is referring to?" In the main hall, the demons couldn't help but be curious. Who also asked suspiciously. "Shen Gongbao," Di-Shir-Tian said meaningfully. "What? Shen Gongbao?" At this time, even Chen Shi's expression changed slightly. She looked at Di-Shir-Tian in surprise and said, "Husband, I know Shen Gongbao's nature. Although he has been imprisoned in the heavenly prison, he has never shown any signs of yielding. Moreover, with his experience, there is no lack of a cynical temperament in his heart. It won't be an easy task to make him submit and pledge allegiance." She knew very well about Shen Gongbao's strangeness. Back then, the Thousand Moon Realm was completely desolated because of him. "Your Majesty, the Heavenly Prison's Blood Killer General has brought Shen Gongbao to seek an audience." At this time, the guard waiting outside the hall came in to report. When the demons in the main hall heard this, their expressions changed slightly. They didn't expect to see Shengong as soon as they mentioned him. They were all surprised. Could His Majesty the Demon King really have a way to subdue Shengong? "Let him in." Di-Shir-Tian's heart settled, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Clatter! Under the gaze of the demons, Shen Gongbao walked to the main hall step by step with a long face, as if his father had died. When he saw Di-Shir-Tian sitting in the main hall, the sadness in his heart surged tenfold, no, 100-fold. He cursed in his heart, "Shengong, Shengong, you are so unlucky. Twice I was set up twice in the same place. Why is my life so miserable? Heavenly prison, I hate the heavenly prison. It made me go in twice. I swear, I will never go into the heavenly prison again. Demon King, you have set me up badly. Are you my destined nemesis?" He was scolding himself for being cheap. Why did he make a bet with the Demon King when he knew there was a conspiracy? Now it was really a tragedy. However, although he was the god of misfortune, who was feared by everyone and hated by ghosts in the world, he was not a villain who went back on his words and could not afford to lose. He looked at Di-Shir-Tian in the main hall. His face was full of complexity. He stretched out his hand to adjust his Taoist robe and waved the horsetail whisk in his hand. He bowed and said, "Your sinner, Shen Gongbao, pays my respects to your majesty. Your majesty will live as long as the heavens and will live forever." His voice was loud and clear, spreading in the main hall. This sentence made the faces of all the demons in the main hall become quite strange, and their bodies trembled. Even Mingxi was surprised, and her eyes became brighter when she looked at Di-Shir-Tian. The words "Your Majesty" had already made the most clear position of his identity. He had already belonged to the side of the demon city. How could the demons not understand the reason? "Rise." Di-Shir-Tian smiled and said, "Shen Gongbao is really Shen Gongbao. You are trustworthy after all. I set up a bet with you this time. Although I am suspected of cheating you, it is all over now. I will not mention it anymore. I know that you are probably full of resentment now, and now there is something for you to vent. Look. He stretched out his hand and pointed at the dark light mirror hanging in the main hall. Shin Gongbao looked at it. In the dark light mirror, he saw that the cultivators of all heavens, one after another, were advancing dauntlessly, driving the islands, ancient cities, and ships to the 4 heavenly gates outside the demon city. The momentum was almost as if they were going to swallow the demon city in one bite. The momentum was so great that it was really shocking. Good. 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 Today, I will use these guys as my proof of allegiance. Your Majesty, please wait a moment. Shin Gongbao's eyes flashed, and he immediately understood Di Shirtian's meaning. After a slight bow, he turned around and stepped out of the main hall with his long sleeves fluttering, shrinking into an inch. Out of the main hall, Shin Gongbao looked around. Suddenly, his whole body swelled violently like a balloon. In just a few breaths, he had turned into a vast giant of 40,000 feet. A cloud stretched out under his feet and lifted him up, floating in the sky above the demon city. His huge body was revealed in the eyes of the cultivators of all heavens. His Taoist robes fluttered in the wind, his long sleeves fluttered, and the horsetail whisk in his hand danced, with a trace of immortal charm. Floating and otherworldly, he really had a good appearance. With a gentle smile on his face, people could not help but feel a sense of closeness. He was like a celestial immortal in a painting. Hey, who is this? He actually came out of the demon city. Could it be that the demon clan inside finally can't hold back? They want to resist, but just this stinky Taoist is blocking in front of us cultivators. It's like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. He's overestimating himself. The demon city is just a clown. With the declining status of the demon clan, how many experts can they produce? Except for the demon emperor, the demon clan is just a group of humble little demons. What right does the demon clan have to want to enjoy the boundless wealth? It's best to rob them all, and let us strengthen our strength. Beat this stinky Taoist to death. Shin Gongbao's appearance immediately shocked the many forces that were swarming over. However, when they saw that it was only a Taoist, they immediately laughed out loud. They thought that the demon clan's foundation was indeed shallow and could not produce a real expert to fight the enemy. Immediately, they laughed and hooted. Damn, that D-brat is really ruthless. He actually threw this ancestor out. The know-it-all narrowed his eyes and cursed inwardly. He raised his hand and covered his eyes, as if he could not bear to see what would happen next. It's him. The demon lord's expression changed, and it was somewhat ugly. Qin family's girl, quickly reverse this ship a little. Your lover is really ruthless, what a huge trap. Just this one person is enough to resist thousands of troops. With him in charge, the demon city is as stable as Mount Tai. The know-it-all clicked his tongue. Shin Gongbao appeared, and he looked like a Taoist. He scanned the surroundings and suddenly said, "Fellow Taoists, please wait." Rumble. Suddenly, as soon as this sentence came out, there seemed to be a mysterious magic power. No less than 10 million cultivators, who were swarming like thunder towards the 4 heavenly gates of the demon city, all felt that after hearing that sentence, a strange force suddenly appeared. An inexplicable force suddenly appeared in the darkness, and his entire body unconsciously stopped in its tracks. The ancient city below them and the warships suddenly stopped running. The sudden change from movement to stillness, of course, shook the surrounding void violently, and space was annihilated inch by inch. What's going on? Why did I suddenly stop? I was obviously going to charge forward. Strange, too strange. Could it be that this Taoist knows how to speak words and silent meditation? Or is it the spell of words? A sentence can make 10 million cultivators stop. This Taoist is not simple. Who is this Taoist? At least, he has the cultivation of an ancient celestial demon. Such a person can't not be famous in the demon clan. There was a moment of silence in the void, followed by an uproar. The momentum caused by a sentence was too frightening. I'm Shun Gongbao, and I'm very polite. I called everyone to stop because I feel wronged in my heart, and I want to pour out my grievances to you. Shun Gongbao said slowly, with a faint sadness on his face, and looked up at the sky. Shun Gongbao? Bang bang bang! In just an instant, many cultivators' faces turned as pale as the bottom of a pot. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Many people's legs went soft, and they fell to the ground without caring about their image. One by one, they only felt their eyelids twitching wildly. They didn't even give it a second thought, and all of them immediately turned around at an unprecedented speed. They turned the ship around and erupted with dazzling divine radiance, and they intended to flee desperately towards the back. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 8:23. Here's the second update. Let's continue with the third update. If you have votes, please help the demons. The beginning of the month is very important. Holy **T. Shun Gongbao was the number one jinx in all the realms. He was the legendary god of misfortune, and god of disaster. Although he had many nicknames, none of them could truly describe his horror. In ancient times, a single sentence of "Fellow Taoist, please wait a moment," had caused many experts to be plagued with misfortune. Even some powerful figures could not avoid the boundless misfortune and endless misfortune. Such a great bane appeared here in the demon city. What a horrible thing! Everyone's eyes were wide open. When they thought of the legend about Shun Gongbao, the fear in their hearts became stronger. Evil, this evil guy. No matter when, if he could hide, then he would hide. If he couldn't hide, then he would run away quickly. Damn, Shun Gongbao, the god of misfortune, actually came out for the demon city. Has this god of disaster already submitted to the demon city? Isn't it said that this god of disaster is locked in the celestial prison and can't come out at all? Now he comes out. Isn't this a trap? It's too cruel. Let's run. My master, if he knew that Shun Gongbao was in the demon city, would he still come out for the demon city? Even if he beat me to death, I wouldn't come here. Damn, if we rush up, we are courting death. The demon clan is so vicious. How did they ask Shun Gongbao to come out? For a moment, those who were excited and thinking about how to plunder the vast wealth of the ancient city, plunder the demon city, and capture the demon clan were only thinking about escaping from this place and the illusory island. Damn, there was still a god of misfortune hiding in the demon city. If they rushed up, wouldn't they be courting death? The misfortune of a bane was something that even the peerless experts had to avoid. Shun Gongbao looked up at the sky and sighed with inexplicable sadness. He sighed and said, "I am so pitiful. Fellow Taoists, please stay and accompany me." A sorrowful sigh faintly spread out in all directions. Almost in the blink of an eye, it covered the entire illusory island. For a moment, it was as if there was only this sigh in the world. Those cultivators who had turned around to flee once again involuntarily stopped in their tracks. Their faces were flushed red as if they had eaten feces. His entire body was trembling. Heavens, Grandpa Shingong, Ancestor Shingong, please don't call me that anymore. If you do, I'll really vomit blood. I didn't offend you. We all turned around and ran away. Why didn't you let us go? My little heart is beating so fast when I hear you say that. Accompany you here? We don't have that right. Countless cultivators were about to call Shingong their ancestor. She only hoped that he would stop yelling. If he did, it would cost her her life. Crack! Rumble! Suddenly, countless dark clouds appeared in the sky above the illusory island. Bolts of lightning struck down from the sky, covering the sky and covering the earth as they crazily struck down on the cultivators. Woo woo woo! Bursts of terrifying wind howled in midair. A dark storm rose from the ground. Within the storm, there were countless bolts of lightning, wind blades, and countless chaotic and twisted forces that twisted the space strangely. That wind was the extremely terrifying Nine Dark Een wind. As the storm came, one after another, warships were swept into the storm. It broke through the defense of the warships and blew on the cultivators, turning them into powder on the spot. The illusory island contained countless spatial faults. Within those faults there were all kinds of disasters. All of a sudden, a spatial crack appeared. From the crack, pitch-black poison gushed out. Many cultivators who came into contact with the poison couldn't even cast a spell to save themselves. Even their magical treasures were corroded by the poison. Their bodies melted at a speed visible to the naked eye. Their bones turned black from the poison. Another torrential flood inexplicably poured out from the void. That was the 9 underworlds' frigid water. Everywhere it passed, even immortal Emperor experts were frozen into popsicles, completely sealed in ice, and their vitality was extinguished. In the endless void, countless meteorites seemed to be attracted by an inexplicable force. They whistled and rammed towards those cultivators who were running away madly. Under the circumstances where they couldn't be seen at all, strands of pitch-black misfortune chi quickly wrapped around those cultivators. It drilled into their bodies directly. Ah! Why is my leg cramping? My magical force is running amok. Oh no! Am I suffering from chi deviation? My God! Shengong, you're a jinx. Whoever comes into contact with you will be plagued by misfortune. An immortal Emperor cultivator's muscles twitched madly like noodles. His face was flushed red. A mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth, and he fell on his back. Ah! A blood-curdling scream was heard from a black hole that appeared out of nowhere. It seemed like he had bumped into the black hole. Ha ha! This meteorite wants to hit me? I'll dodge it. Oh no! Why can't I see anything? A cultivator wanted to dodge a huge meteorite, but his eyes were suddenly blinded. He couldn't dodge in time and was shattered into pieces by the meteorite. Swoosh! Swoosh! Stars! So many stars! Run! They're all crashing towards us. Heavenly fire! Heavenly fire is falling towards us. Oh no! Many of the void faults on the illusory void island are collapsing. We'll be done for if we're caught in it. For a moment, the entire illusory void island was filled with countless disasters. Thunderbolts, storms, toxins, spatial traps, black holes, meteorites, stars, heavenly fire, and ice. In an instant, the entire illusory void island seemed like it was going to collapse completely. Endless disasters were spewing out. Countless screams were heard one after another. Large groups of cultivators fell like a tide, as if they were mowing grass. Death filled every inch of the void. The All Heavens Alliance army, which was originally full of vigor, collapsed in an instant. This humble Taoist has finally vented his anger. Shengong Sui glanced around and regained his sage-like appearance. He said gently, "Fellow Taoists, I'll talk to you next time if there's a chance." After saying that, his body swayed, and his thousands of feet tall body suddenly disappeared. He slowly turned back towards the Lingxiao Palace. Talk to you? In the Lingxiao Palace, the group of demons could clearly see the scene outside. The terrible disasters and misfortune were like the end of the world. The disasters came one after another, and the traps came one after another. They had completely witnessed the names of the Bane, the god of misfortune, and the god of misfortune. Shengong Sui alone was enough to fight against thousands of soldiers and horses. However, when they heard Shengong Sui's last sentence, the corners of the demons' mouths couldn't help but twitch. It was hard to laugh. They were also shocked and felt a chill in their hearts. Listening to him talk? As long as there was something wrong with their brains, who would be willing to listen? Was he tired of living? Boom, boom, boom. Among the countless disasters, a golden dragon that was hundreds of thousands of feet long could be seen waving its dragon claws and tearing the void apart. However, looking at the surface of the golden dragon, countless dragon scales had fallen off, and the golden light on its body had become unusually dim. Damn it, the demon city can only rely on a small Shengongbao. Let me tell you demons, it's just a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Shengongbao, who do you think you are? In ancient times you were also killed. All misfortune is nothing in the face of absolute strength. You're nothing more than a clown. You can't do anything to me. The voice of absolute ruthlessness came out from the golden dragon's body. All evil is glory, return to me. No calamity can wear down this king's divine body. Shengongbao, even if you're the bane, I'll drag you into the hell of Avicenaraka. The vast sinless city broke through the disaster. On the Avicenaraka throne, Haitong's eyes were crazy as he roared loudly. However, looking at the cracks on the ancient city, it could be seen that the disaster did not cause any damage to them. Although Shengongbao's misfortune was powerful and strange, the ancient city managed to escape by relying on the supreme warship they were on. However, they were also in a difficult situation. Those forces that did not have supreme warships and ancient cities were destroyed in the disaster. Tsk, Shengongbao is a jinx. He really did a lot of harm. With just one sentence, he buried nearly 10 million cultivators. However, the one who pushed Shengongbao out is even more ruthless. He's your little lover. The know-it-all shook his head and said strangely, the appetizer is over. I'm afraid it's time for the main course. Little Qin, you have to look for an opportunity now. The strange eyes rolled, and a faint light flashed in those turbid old eyes. His eyes silently swept across the void, as if he could detect something. So this is the monster clan's last resort. Then I'll have to settle the score with D. Shirtion. I, the heavenly demon, regard a mere fake heavenly gate as nothing. Swoosh! In the void, an ancient demon palace appeared silently. On the surface of the demon palace, there were countless mysterious murals. On the murals, there were countless tempting demon paintings. Countless demon heads were constantly changing. They either turned into demon girls full of fatal temptation, or transformed into various kinds of rare treasures. Every demon head's form was constantly changing. It was as if there was no fixed direction. It was as if they were determined by their hearts and could change into anything. Countless demon girls were dancing in the palace. In the palace, a man in a demon robe with strange demon runes on his face was leaning on the throne. Beside him, a demon girl was holding a fruit bowl with fresh spiritual fruits in it. A demon girl was kneeling and reaching out her slender hands to pinch a spiritual fruit and put it into the man's mouth. The demon girls around him were massaging his shoulders, back and legs. They enjoyed the gentleness of everything. In the palace there was a great feeling of freedom. It was as if as long as one entered, they would be able to find supreme freedom. Whatever they wanted, they would be able to get it easily. This palace was faintly in harmony with the heavenly Tao. The moment it appeared, most of the cultivators in the entire endless void felt their minds suddenly fluctuate. It was as if all kinds of inner demons were constantly breeding. Invisible inner demons. This palace is the Great Freedom Sky Demon Palace. Could it be that the Great Freedom Sky Demon has been reborn? This is the most terrifying branch of the demon path in my source world. The Great Freedom Sky Demon cultivates the inner demon technique. Could it be that he also has a grudge against the Monster Emperor? Why would he appear at this time? Could it be that he wants to seize the 1,000 Monster City? The many experts hiding in the dark were all surprised when they saw the Devil Palace. To be continued. If you want to know the rest, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 824. Third update received. Update complete. Monthly tickets are in short supply. Those with monthly tickets, please support me. Inner demons were invisible and formless. Almost no cultivator could avoid having inner demons. Once one's mind was eroded by inner demons, one would fall into the demonic Tao in the blink of an eye. It was even possible that one's mind would be lost, and one would completely sink into killing, creating endless sins. Thousands of years of cultivation would be lost in a day. Most cultivators feared inner demons as if they were snakes or scorpions. They were terrified, especially when breaking through. It was often accompanied by the appearance of inner demons, which messed up one's mind. It was unknown how many people had failed to transcend the tribulation because of their inner demons. In the world, the inheritance of the demonic Tao was called the Great Freedom Sky Demon. It recorded the supreme inner demon technique. The cultivator was the Great Freedom Demon Venerable. The Great Freedom Demon Venerable was an existence that almost any cultivator would turn pale at the mention of. Every cultivator had inner demons. The difference was the depth of the inner demons, and the strength of the inner demons. The cultivator of the Great Freedom Sky Demon could easily sense the existence of any inner demons. Then, he could control the inner demons and target them to launch the most bizarre attack. "It's him." Tion suddenly narrowed his eyes. A distant memory surfaced in his mind. He recalled his experience when he was learning the zither in the secular world. The most dangerous time was when he was brought into the Sky Demon Palace. He was almost trapped. He would never forget Wan Tao, who had obtained the inheritance of the Great Freedom Sky Demon Palace. "I didn't expect that even he would appear. Good, I want to see how many forces in this world intend to be enemies with the demon clan." Sakura snorted coldly in his heart. He still didn't intend to expose the demon city. It wasn't easy to dig such a big hole. How could he not take this opportunity to take a good look at it? There would not be many opportunities like this in the future. Tisk tsk. Lunatic D, now that the clown has been dealt with, I'm afraid that those hidden in the dark will think that we only have Shen Gongbao as our trump card. They will jump out one after another. My dark has not experienced such a big battle for tens of thousands of years. The more that jump out, the better. In any case, the hole we dug is deep enough. Nether licked her lips and revealed an excited expression. "Ming, how is the matter of swallowing the illusory void island going?" Tion suddenly asked. "Don't worry. The land of exile is a treasure trove. Only there can you refine a supreme treasure like the ultimate Emperor Jade Archive. If it weren't for the fact that the land of exile can condense Dharma fragments and refine them into the ultimate Emperor Jade Archive and evolve them into the most wonderful talisman of the great Tao in the world, I'm sure that there is absolutely no primordial spiritual treasure in the world that can be so miraculous. Only the ultimate Emperor Jade Archive can refine and swallow the illusory island. Once we completely devour the void illusory island, the myriad demon city will become unprecedentedly strong. Every inch of the city will contain a space. He had unlimited potential. There's an opportunity to ascend to the immortal realm. This is the foundation of a supreme Tao. Virtually every inch of the air in the illusory island was filled with countless spatial rifts. The demon city hovered motionlessly in midair. No one knew that as soon as they entered, the ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive began to absorb and refine the surrounding space into the demon city, obtaining all sorts of important natural laws of space. It even created stable spatial faults of various sizes in the ancient city. In the core of the void, the Imperial Jade Archive continued to spin, and the heavenly music of the Great Path reverberated within. The vast space fragments were constantly being absorbed into the Jade Archive. One could clearly see that within the Jade Archive, a silver-white talisman of the Great Path was bursting with dazzling divine light. Countless divine characters flashed within it, and countless spaces were vanishing. The talisman was rapidly mending and recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. However, the process of mending was clearly slower than any other talisman. Although vast amounts of Dharma fragments were being absorbed every moment, only 30% of the talisman had been mended. Spatial talismans were one of the most mysterious great daos in the world. It was extraordinarily difficult to achieve. No heavenly gate can stop the inner demon. If it was the genuine heavenly gate, I might not be able to do anything. However, a fake is a fake. How can it stop the inner demon? Inner demon seeds, go through the heavenly gate and invade the myriad demon city. The great freedom demon supremacy smiled faintly. Suddenly, the entire great freedom sky demon palace was filled with rolling demonic fog. Countless demons rapidly changed their forms and condensed into illusory pitch-black demon seed. In the blink of an eye, they covered the sky and rushed toward the southern heavenly gate. Rumble! The builder tree was still crazily whipping the southern heavenly gate, causing it to rumble continuously. However, the immortal power in the heavenly gate was magical. Any wounds would be healed instantly. It stood tall and strong. Even the builder tree could not break the heavenly gate. However, the inner demon seeds that filled the sky gushed toward the heavenly gate like a tidal wave, crashing into it directly. Strangely, these inner demon seeds seemed to be illusory as they passed through the heavenly gate easily. Swoosh! 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 Once these inner demon seeds passed through the heavenly gate, they immediately fell in all directions and entered the bodies of the many remaining cultivators and demons in the ancient city. In an instant, the seeds took root and sprouted in their bodies. In the blink of an eye, inner demons were born, and their minds were eroded by the inner demons. Demonic light appeared in their eyes. Open the heavenly gate and welcome the arrival of the demon's supremacy. Occupy the myriad demon city and welcome the arrival of the demon's supremacy. Terrifying demonic thoughts appeared in the minds of the demons and cultivators who were affected by the inner demon seed. Their faces emitted a blazing demonic light. The inner demon seeds covered the sky and earth. There were more than 10 million of them. When they entered the myriad demon city, it was as if they were going to destroy the entire demon race. Damn it, how dare they send the inner demon seeds into the myriad demon city? They have gone too far. Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive, suppress the inner demon. Di Shirtian's heart was cold. He secretly remembered this scene. If it was outside, it might be a little troublesome. However, in the myriad demon city, this place was equivalent to his life treasure. His every move was under his control. With a thought, the great Tao heavenly melody in the Ultimate Emperor Jade Archive became even more intense. One of the inner demon talismans burst out with a mysterious power that instantly covered the entire myriad demon city. However, only 1/10 of the inner demon talisman in the Jade Archive was complete. More than half of it was incomplete. The power it emitted could only suppress the erosion of the inner demon, but it could not plunder and devour the inner demon seeds in a short time. In an instant, many demons who were eroded by the inner demon woke up. However, the inner demon in their bodies could not be completely eradicated. Ding dong! At this moment, a melodious sound of a zither suddenly reverberated in the void. The melodious sound of the zither slowly spread in the void and covered the entire myriad demon city. The sound of the zither was like a supreme enjoyment to the ears. It was like a small spring flowing out. It contained a kind of aura that calmed one's mind. It made the listener feel as if they were by a quiet stream and were listening to the flowing stream. Their minds became inexplicably calm, and their souls were sublimated by the sound of the zither. Whoosh! In the void above the illusory island, the sound of the zither moved. An ancient and mysterious tree appeared out of thin air. The tree emitted a kind of mysterious aura that calmed one's mind. It swayed with the wind as if it was alive. The leaves swayed and emitted a natural sound. As the sound spread, the entire void became strangely quiet. The inner demon was imperceptibly imprisoned and suppressed. Bodhi tree. This is the heart-cleansing Bodhi song. Di Shirtian sat in the main hall with an indescribable expression on his face. The dark light mirror moved and landed on a purple bamboo boat. His gaze was complicated. This is the Qin family's song. Could it be that Kotomi is here? In the heart-cleansing Bodhi song, the inner demons of the demons who were infected by the inner demon seeds turned into wisps of demonic chi that drifted out from their bodies. In the blink of an eye, they were absorbed into the ultimate Emperor Jade archive. The Qin family's heart-cleansing Bodhi song. Demon Venerable Great Freedom's relaxed expression suddenly changed. He squinted his eyes and looked at the amethyst bamboo boat. Qin family, how dare you go against this demon venerable? Back then, if it wasn't for your heart-cleansing Bodhi song, this demon venerable wouldn't have ended up like that. I didn't expect you to still be my enemy. It seems like this demon venerable must meet this Qin family's main body. If I don't destroy this heart-cleansing Bodhi song, how can this demon venerable be at ease? He snorted in his heart. The Qin family's heart-cleansing Bodhi song was the nemesis of the inner demon Tao. It had a terrifying suppressive power. He cultivated the inner demon Tao, so how could he not be afraid? Rumble! In the vast void, a gigantic crystal steel suddenly tore through the void and appeared. The ancient steel was intertwined with countless mysterious divine runes, and stars faintly circled around it. The two words, God bestowment, were intertwined on the ancient steel. It descended from the sky, and wherever it passed, the void collapsed. The meteorites in front of the ancient monolith were shattered into pieces upon being lightly touched, turning into dust. The obelisk was like the judgment of the heavenly Tao. It carried the power of the stars in the sky and transformed into a supreme power that could suppress everything. The moment it appeared unstoppably in front of the northern heaven's gate and smashed into it. Bang! This smash was simply terrifying. The northern heaven's gate trembled violently on the spot, and with a cracking sound, a hideous and terrifying crack appeared on the heaven's gate. The unparalleled tyrannical power collided until the myriad demon city involuntarily trembled slightly. However, the cracks on the heaven's gate healed at a speed visible to the naked eye under the power of the immortal stone. What a terrifying ancient tablet! It almost shattered the heaven's gate. Who did it? It's really domineering. Could it be that an ancient powerhouse made a move? Finally, an ancient powerhouse made a move against the demon city. He didn't even show his face, but he's already so powerful. Look, it's not just one ancient tablet. 1, 2, 3. There are actually 4 ancient tablets smashing into the 4 heavens gates at the same time. What a powerful ancient monument. I can feel that once it hits down, even an ancient giant would be suppressed. They would never be able to transcend. Rumble! Rumble! 4 ancient tablets appeared in the void at the same time. They came from 4 different directions and smashed into the 4 heavens gates. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author, support the original reading. Chapter 825. The big fish hiding in the dark has finally made its move. 4 legions, pass on my decree. Return of the heroic souls. When Sakra saw the 4 ancient monuments, his eyes shone with resplendent light. He ordered resolutely, the return of the 100 races is imminent. Our monster race has been silent for so many years, it's time for us to let out a shout that belongs to us. Since the 100 races are going to return, then let us, the monster race, be the first to return. After enduring for so long, he finally gave the order. Qi Hua Yuanzhan Xiongba Inkong, let us show the might of our Yao clan in this battle. Yes, your majesty. Qi Hua and the other generals of the 4 legions stepped forward and bowed respectfully at the center of the hall, their bodies brimming with battle intent. They turned and quickly walked out of the hall toward the 4 camp. In the camps, the Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, White Tiger, and Black Tortoise legions each had 300,000 soldiers. They were all lined up in neat rows. They naturally exuded an aura of iron and blood, carrying with them a somber air that made the air feel strangely stifling. But what was strange was that every soldier's eyes were closed, and even their breathing was abnormally weak, barely discernible. It was as if they had fallen into a deep sleep. His Majesty has decreed that the souls of the azure dragon, vermilion bird, white tiger, and black tortoise legions return. The solemn and melodious decree quickly echoed throughout the Yao city. In the blink of an eye, it filled every inch of space and fell into the ears of countless Yao clan members. Boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, countless mysterious runes burst out of the blood altar standing in the middle of the ancient city. The runes condensed into many soul-summoning flags and began to rotate above the altar. Souls return, in the land of exile. Groups of fierce-looking Yao clan members wore cold expressions and held weapons in their hands as they fought with fierce beasts in the forest. When they fought, they advanced and retreated in an orderly manner. Furthermore, they formed groups of 3, 4, or 5 Yao clan members. When they fought, they advanced and retreated in groups of 3, 4, or 5. When they fought, they moved in unison and attacked endlessly. In times of danger, they would leave their backs to each other. In the midst of the battle, there was a strong sense of camaraderie. Rumble! At this moment, a blood pillar shot up into the sky from the Sky Pillar Mountain. Countless soul-summoning sounds could be heard from the blood-colored divine pillar. An imperial edict quickly spread into the ears of every soldier like flowing water. His Majesty has ordered the azure dragon, vermilion bird, white tiger, and black tortoise to return to their positions. When these words fell into the ears of the demons, the faces of the soldiers who were training immediately bloomed with determination and joy. Brothers, His Majesty has summoned us. We've been in the banished land for so many years, and His Majesty has spared no effort in nurturing us. Now, it's time to give His Majesty glory. Soldiers are trained for 1,000 days to be used in a single moment. This time, we will let the myriad worlds know of the might of the monster race. Bang, bang, bang! The demonic beasts belonging to the 4 legions laughed out loud. Their bodies emitted a terrifying wave of energy. With a loud boom, their demonic bodies exploded into a pile of flesh and blood. Countless blood-colored runes intertwined within his flesh. Each rune contained a vast amount of energy and essence chi. After the self-explosion, the runes formed by his flesh and blood seemed to have been summoned by a mysterious force. They quickly flew towards the blood altar in the Sky Pillar City. It entered the heaven-reaching blood pillar and followed it into some mysterious place. At the same time, balls of blood-colored light flew out from the blood altar in the demon city. In front of each blood-colored light, there was a soul-summoning banner leading the way. They flew towards the 4 legions. A pile of flesh and blood appeared in front of a demon soldier who was sleeping with his eyes closed. It emitted a dense blood-colored light and quickly turned into 129,600 blood-colored runes and entered his body. Rumble, rumble, rumble! Immediately, the demon soldier's entire body suddenly emitted waves of dense demon chi. A blood-red light surrounded his entire body. At the same time, the demon soldier's aura rapidly grew and transformed at a speed visible to the naked eye. His cultivation base was like a radish being plucked, rapidly increasing with a whoosh sound. 6th Transformation Demon Core. 7th Transformation Demon Core. In the blink of an eye, his cultivation base rose to the peak of the 9th Transformation Stage. This was the peak of the great ancient demon realm. He was only a step away from becoming an ancient demon sage. At the same time, his demonic body grew many times stronger. He emitted a dazzling divine glow. The body-tempering technique that he had cultivated in the land of exile returned to his body. That iron-blooded chi was like a sharp saber that pierced through the heavens. Boom, boom, boom. Such scenes could be seen everywhere in the 4 legions. Balls of flesh and blood returned to their bodies. Immediately, their cultivation base broke through rapidly. They went from the ancient demon king realm to the peak of the great ancient demon realm. This breakthrough was earth-shattering. It could be said that it was a great fortune. Moreover, there were no hidden dangers when they broke through. In the blink of an eye, the 1.2 million soldiers in the 4 legions had all reached the peak of the great ancient demon realm. Furthermore, there were all sorts of strange signs on the bodies of every soldier. For example, the Azure Dragon Legion had green dragon scales on their bodies. It was as if they had cultivated the Azure Dragon true body. One must know that every legion had their own body tempering technique, called the Divine Beast of 5 Directions transformation. Once it was cultivated to greater mastery, the demonic body could be reborn into the bodies of the divine beasts of 5 directions. This was not a transformation, but a true metamorphosis into the Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, and White Tiger. It was just that the bloodline was slightly thinner. Bang bang bang! The 4 ancient steels were extremely domineering. It was as if they wanted to shatter the entire void into dust. On each of the ancient steels, there were countless mysterious words that were condensed from the power of the stars. They had an extremely strong sealing power. The crystal-clear ancient steels were like the most perfect objects in the world. However, they were extremely heavy. When they smashed onto the 4 gates of heaven, the power contained in the ancient steels caused the gates of heaven to tremble violently. Terrifying cracks appeared on the gates of heaven. However, the 4 ancient steels seemed as if they wanted to completely shatter the 1,000-demon city. They immediately flew up high. With a shake of their bodies, the ancient steels grew. In the blink of an eye, they were tens of thousands of feet tall. With a slight shake, they could shatter the heavens. The pressure that was emitted from the ancient steels made even the ancient giants shudder. It was as if they would be crushed to death if they were to get close to the ancient steels. The demon race shall be exterminated. The human Tao shall prosper forever. A voice that sounded like the laws of heaven and earth suddenly came from the void. Following his words, the 4 ancient tablets directly pressed down on the gate of heaven with the force of Mount Tai. There was an ancient aura that reverberated within the ancient steels. Who is attacking? It's so terrifying. Just the pressure from the ancient steels is enough to make me feel like kneeling down. Could it be that an unparalleled expert is attacking? No, if an unparalleled expert does not appear, then it should be at least an ancient giant. The demon race is indeed envied by the heavens. Back in the ancient times they were crippled and declined. Now that they want to rise again, how could those ancient giants let the demon race rise again? This is a head-on attack. Each of the 4 ancient steels has the power to crush an ancient giant. This attack is equivalent to 4 ancient giants attacking at the same time. Let's see if the fake gates of heaven is not destroyed. Roar! However, just as the ancient steels were about to smash down outside the southern heaven's gate, the gate of heaven, which was originally tightly shut, suddenly shot out a brilliant divine light. A vast azure dragon, which was 100,000 feet long, exuded a vast dragon aura as it rushed out from the gate of heaven. A azure dragon claw, which was like a pillar holding up the sky, directly smashed towards an ancient tablet that was falling down. Rumble! The vast green dragon force emitted a noble aura. On the dragon claw, dragon scales stood up and spewed out dragon aura. The dragon tendons were violently moving up and down. This claw was as if it was going to pierce through the heavens and earth. Countless green wood chi burst out from the claw as if it contained endless vitality. It also seemed as if it could cause all living things to wither in an instant. Together, they slammed onto the ancient steels. The ancient steels were instantly blasted tens of thousands of miles away. It smashed into countless meteorites and shattered countless void. The green dragon swayed its body and emitted a myriad of green light. Outside the southern heaven's gate, a huge green cloud was formed. On the cloud, Chi Hua and the Green Dragon Army's demon race appeared in a solemn battle formation at the same time. At the same time, 3 huge figures appeared in the other 3 gates of heaven. The vermilion bird, the black tortoise, and the white tiger all used a domineering method to forcefully blast the ancient steels away. They spread out and formed an army, facing all directions with a solemn expression. His Majesty has ordered that anyone who goes against the demon race shall be killed. Kill! Kill! The 1,200,000 soldiers coldly spat out a sentence. The killing power that exploded from their bodies shot out in all directions. The invisible killing power almost instantly gathered and swept out in all directions. Bang! 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 Many cultivators near the illusory void island had their bodies explode and their minds crumble under the killing power that swept across the sky. How is this possible? These demon soldiers are all at the peak of the greater ancient demon level. What a thick aura of blood and slaughter! Heavens! Just how many living beings did they have to kill in order to accumulate such a thick aura of slaughter? 1,200,000 peak ancient great demon soldiers. The demon race has only left the demon world for less than 10 years. How could they have so many experts in such a short time? How could they have accumulated such a strong foundation? The divine beast true body that has just been formed is comparable to the peak of the ancient great demon realm. What the hell? Since when did the demon race have such strength? The appearance of the 4 great demon armies made countless cultivators' jaws drop to the ground in shock. The 4 great demon armies of the past were not as terrifying as they were now. This meant that their strength was completely obtained in the short span of 10 years. What did this mean? As long as the demon race was willing, they could nurture 10 million ancient great demons, 100 million ancient great demons, or even ancient great demon saints and ancient great demons. What kind of terrifying thing was that? If you want to know more, please go to www.chidian.com to read more chapters. Support the author and support the original reading. Chapter 8:26. The Thousand Demon City that had been silent finally revealed its ferocious side. When they formed a battle formation, that was a terrifying battle strength comparable to the pinnacle of ancient giants. Who wouldn't be shocked by this? So this is the foundation of the demon race. Good, today this Lord will destroy this foundation. Back then, this Lord was able to chase your demon race's ancestors until they had nowhere to go. Today, I will destroy the demon race's hope. If it's not your own power, then it's nothing more than an illusion. Today, this Lord will destroy your illusion. In the sky above the illusory island, countless stars shot out from the void and quickly gathered together. Suddenly, they condensed into a middle-aged man wearing a star robe and a star crown. His face was full of majesty. When this middle-aged man appeared, it was as if there were billions of stars revolving around him. It was as if he was the ruler of all the stars in the heavens. The 4 ancient tablets revolved around him. Within the ancient monument, a mysterious divine runic text flashed as countless divine sounds echoed out. Faintly, there seemed to be a terrifying cage within the ancient monument. The moment he appeared, it was as if the entire heavens were revolving around him. Divine Seal Venerable, my God, this is the oldest venerable of the human race. In the past, he was already a peak overlord and fought a fierce battle against the demon race. Rumor has it that countless demons died in his hands, but in the end, even he was gravely injured. He went into hiding to heal his wounds in a certain location. I can't believe he would appear here. Rumor has it that this 3rd step cultivator is the most hostile to the demon race. He killed countless demons in the past, so how could he watch the demon race rise without doing anything? He wants to completely nip the demon race in the bud. That's a god of slaughter we're talking about. What he cultivates is a sealing technique. Do you see that vertical eye between his brows? That eye should be the manifestation of a terrifying divine ability. It's called the God-sealing eye. Once this eye opens, it will be able to seal countless experts with a single glance. Looking at the middle-aged man who suddenly stepped out of the void, some of the more knowledgeable cultivators immediately called out his identity. It was an ancient venerable of the human race, venerable divine seal. It's him? Good, he came at the right time. De Chertien's pupils shrank violently. He suddenly recalled the scene when he was stabbed into the ground by a finger in the Thousand Beast Mountain. The impression was so deep that it was almost indelible. Venerable Feng Shen? So it's him. I didn't think that he would be drawn out by the trap you dug. Good, very good. The humiliation you suffered back then will be returned to him 100 times, 1,000 times over. You can't kill him. You have to capture him alive and hand him over to me. I'll torture him until he cries out for help and the heavens and earth won't respond. Dark was also gnashing his teeth. The master had been humiliated and the servant had died. He was still trying to achieve what had happened back then. Good, it's good that you've come. It seems that those who are hiding in the dark can't hold themselves back anymore. The pit that they dug is almost ready to start burying people. Sakra said indifferently, I don't care who you are. Since you dared to attack the gate of heaven, my Azure Dragon Legion will capture you for His Majesty today. Battle Azure Dragon? Roar! Chihua's eyes emitted cold, murderous intent. The entire Azure Dragon Legion was instantly wrapped in a layer of azure wood chi. A vast azure dragon that was no less than 30,000 feet long appeared in the void again. The azure dragon let out a draconic roar and extended its claw, aiming to crush Venerate Ascendant's head into dust. Azure Dragon Claws! The azure dragon's body was 10,000 feet long. This claw could even grab a star. Moreover, the dragon claw contained the azure dragon's powerful dragon aura that could suppress everything in the world. Under the claw, countless voids were destroyed. Countless voids were destroyed by the dragon claw. How dare you! Venerable Divine Seal glared. The sky crystal tablet shook and expanded to 10,000 feet long before colliding with the dragon claw. Rumble! The Azure Dragon true body formed by the Azure Dragon battle formation had reached the peak of the ancient heavenly demon. Every claw had the power to tear the world apart. A power that could shatter an ancient overlord collided with the ancient tablet. A huge force erupted from the tablet and blocked the dragon claw. The surrounding voids collapsed. Sky Crystal Tablet, suppress the Azure Dragon. Venerable Divine Seal was indeed worthy of being a venerable from the ancient era. Although he hadn't stepped into the realm of a peerless expert, he was only a foot away from that realm. His battle prowess was immeasurable. He grabbed an ancient tablet and smashed it on the Azure Dragon's back. The ancient tablet shook and instantly expanded to 100,000 feet long. It was like a pillar supporting the sky. Suddenly, countless mysterious inscriptions appeared on the ancient monument. These inscriptions were like a seal, they intertwined together and fell onto the body of the Azure Dragon. When these seal inscriptions came into contact with the Azure Dragon, they immediately coiled around the Azure Dragon. At the same time, even the dragon chi on the surface of the Azure Dragon was suppressed and sealed into its body. It was actually trying to suppress and seal the Azure Dragon. Rumble! However, the Azure Dragon's battle prowess was shocking. It emitted a dazzling light that blocked the inscriptions. At the same time, it violently struggled to flip the ancient tablet. Kill! The other 3 legions were furious when they saw this. They formed their divine beast true bodies. The black serpent coiled on the black tortoise's back opened its mouth and spat out pitch-black 9 motifs true water. It bombarded Venerable Divine Seal with earth-shattering might. Wherever it passed, even space was frozen. The white tiger's wings flapped fiercely and 2 golden storms tore the void apart. The vermilion bird waved and thousands of vermilion bird divine fire condensed into fiery feathers that covered the world like sharp arrows. Each strike was able to shatter an ancient giant into pieces. At the same time, they attacked venerable divine seal. Their power turned the surrounding 100,000 feet into a battlefield. It was equivalent to 3 peak ancient heavenly demons attacking at the same time. 4 against 1 at the same time. Even I can't bear to watch this. Why don't I play with this little white tiger for a while? Whoosh! At this moment, a carefree and unruly voice sounded. A young man in a sapphire blue robe appeared out of thin air. He held a feather fan made of 9 feathers of different colors, wore a flat imperial crown on his head, and wore cloud-treading heaven ascension boots on his feet. His face was extraordinarily handsome, and there was a black birthmark of a fiery cloud between his eyebrows. It added a strange charm to his body. He exuded a unique aura of disdain and carefree. The combination of masculinity and aloofness in his aura was a fatal attraction to women. After he appeared, he saw the hurricane with an austere aura and countless sharp golden blades in the hurricane. He smiled faintly, extended his feather fan, and gently waved it at the hurricane. Caw! Lifelike golden crows suddenly rushed out of the fan. There were no less than 100 of them, and they were enveloped in golden solar true fire. They let out a series of caws, spread their wings, and rushed toward the hurricane. The blazing solar true fire released its domineering power. The gung metal blade in the hurricane melted under the grand sun primordial fire. In the blink of an eye, they were burned to ashes. North Nether Mansion Master, Carefree King, by whose expression changed when she saw the young man, and she exclaimed. Her expression had turned rather ugly. It was clear that the Freedom King had left a huge shadow in her heart. You're all here. Carefree King, I didn't look for you, but you came to me first. I would be letting you down if I didn't accept you. Shirtian's eyes narrowed into a line. It was time to reel in the net. Heavenly Silkworm, heed my command. Use the heaven-connecting yin-yang bridge to bring the 4 armies back. Yes, Your Majesty. Heavenly Silkworm shook its snow-white head and quickly left the hall. Around the illusory void island, in a void fault, there was a sea of blood tumbling. On the sea of blood, Shwe-Ini, with a head full of blood-red hair, looked at the scene outside with a sinister smile. He reached out and pinched a strand of blood-red hair. On the strand of hair there was a soul crying out in pain. It was constantly struggling, and it let out a chilling moan. Tsk tisk, interesting. This source world is really filled with endless internal strife. Back then, the demon race had sacrificed countless lives to stop the invasion of the demon god continent. Even the ancient demon gods fell one after another. Their blood dyed the blue sky red. If it weren't for those fearless demon race, this world would have become a thing of the past. All living things would have been sacrificed. All the saints would be sacrificed. How laughable that the hero of the past would end up like this. Shwe-Ini's face was full of mockery as he muttered, interesting. If the demonic beasts were not here, the demonic god army would definitely be able to defeat them in a single battle after the annihilation tide. However, what a pity! The demonic beasts were not destroyed by my demonic god clan, but by a bunch of short-sighted people. I believe that if the ancient demon gods knew about this, they would cry. However, how can this god not lend a hand? Shwe-Ini smiled sinisterly and was about to take action. However, he suddenly raised his head and looked into the depths of the void. There was a trace of surprise between his brows. The aura of a sacred demon. Could it be that an expert from the demon god continent has descended? Let's go and take a look. A bloody scar split open between Shwe-Ini's brows, and a resplendent blood-red light burst out. This blood-red light seemed to be able to penetrate the 9 underworlds and see through all world. Suddenly, a pitch-black demon gate appeared in his eyes. It was as if the demon gate had existed since ancient times. When he saw it, a deep shock appeared on his face. Without thinking, his body swayed and he disappeared. Rumble! In the demon city, a snow-white ancient bridge suddenly broke through the void. The ancient bridge exuded an ancient aura with the charm of the other side. When it appeared, it immediately crossed the void and crashed into the ancient tablet that was suppressing the azure dragon's back. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.